What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 6 of C4S Villains. I am your host, JB, and I am here as always with the one, the only Legendy Vash, and we have an action-packed show for you guys. We got some Supergirl news. We got to talk about the Mortal Kombat trailer. We're going to be talking about WandaVision episode 7. It is going to be a blast. Everyone in chat right now, thank you guys so much for being here. Vash, man, this is going to be a fun episode. Thank you so much for being here with me, man.
It's a pleasure to be here, and plus thank you for always having me here as your co-host. And it's WandaVision. We got so much news today that dropped right before we're gonna be live. I'm like, hey, should we be adding all these news? Like, yes. And it's just like, damn, Friday just got packed. And when me and Jens were looking at what's the next topics for the next month, we were like, oh, a lot of things are dropping on Fridays. So it's like great for us, because it's great to be on top of the news and trending and everything, and great for the discussion. But like, we're gonna be busy, so I love that. So it's very exciting to see that.
Yeah, when I was making the show notes, because we did 2 shows this week. This show, we also did Monday. I was like, well, shit, I think we used up all of the good news on Monday's episode. So I was trying to find anything, and then I wake up this morning. We got the Invincible trailer. We got the Supergirl news. Mortal Kombat trailer came out yesterday.
Oof,
so there's so much to talk about, man. It's gonna be awesome.
It's very exciting to see of how, like, me just passing graduation, but also knowing the behind the scenes of how the movie business and everything, and plus TV production, with the whole pandemic, is still going on. Like, people still feeding, and people still want more. People still want more entertainment, no matter what the whole pandemic and everything. So it's crazy how that people will find the time, and people will, use the mask, the gloves, and everything just to be safe for the precaution aspect. But it's crazy how people just want content, and that's awesome and I love how Mortal Kombat, I know that we're going to get into it, but it looks so good. Visual-wise, it looks amazing. I don't know how the movie's going to be, but at the end of the day, I don't give a F. It looked good. If you have a good OST to like Mortal Kombat with the old one, you can still hold up years from now. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm so hyped for this. Like, I don't need it to be like, Schindler's List. I don't need it to be this great movie, but as long as it's a lot of fun, and that's exactly what it looks like. And again, we'll get into the trailer review here in a second, but I'm super hyped for this. Everyone in chat, thank you guys so much for being here. Steve, Chris, Pedro, Edlin, thank you guys all so much for being here. Again, this is going to be a full show. We have so much to talk about. And one of the first things that I wanted to talk about with you guys was that the C4S Villains podcast feed is now officially live. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Castbox. As soon as I get the other episodes uploaded, we'll be on iHeartRadio too. Right now, there's only 1 episode live on the channel, but I'm going to work on getting the other 5 episodes up there over this weekend. So stay tuned for that. I will have the links for those podcasts in the description. I also have a few posts going live at 8:30 where you can click on the Spotify and Apple Podcast links. So if you're not following us on social media, go to C4 Spoilers, and you can just click on the links from there. But just wanted to get that announcement out of the way.
And plus, to add to that as well, if you guys can review, rate us as well, it's very appreciated because it helps us in the podcast algorithm as well. And maybe a year from now, sponsor as well. It's beautiful how much we love to do this type of content, but when you get paid for it, it's an extra type of bonus for us. So we appreciate that at the end of the day. Anything as 5 stars, 4 stars. If you rate us 1 star, we are gonna look at you and question you. Be like, why? What happened? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, why do you hate us?
Like, what's wrong? Like, we're entertaining, we're funny. Like, not be perfect comedians, but hey, we do our best there.
Yeah, and if you guys leave any 5-star reviews, we will read them live on the show.
Yes,
for you guys. So do that. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a comment. Rate the podcast. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. So as we do every show, we're going to go right off the top. Vash, what have you been watching since the last episode? Have you been continuing your Justice League watch?
Sadly, I took a pause on that because I blame Sam, because I started to binge watch Static Shock, and I was trying to finish it today, but with how graduation is and everything, I didn't get to it. But I'm almost
congratulations, by the way.
Again, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I almost done with season 2 of Static Shock. I've binge watched season 1. It's so good. Like, as much as the animation don't hold up, but it probably won't hold up fully like another 10 years, 20 years from now. But been only 15 years, it still holds up. It's still entertaining. It's still great for what it is. but the messages. I think it was episode 9 when our boy Richie left the crib because Virgil went to the house for the first time, and the father is racist. And the message, the OST, the score out of season 1, I believe that's episode 9, is my favorite because those messages still hold on today. For example, Black Lives Matter, what's going on here, people, white supremacy, people still believe about racism even after 100 something years later of that being abolished already, but still going on with people mentality and everything. So seeing Static Shock attack that very well, and seeing the designs of the characters about Sharon, about Virgil's sister and all that, like falling in love with her, technically like a rapper, but who's also a person that went to jail and everything. So it shows that like like love, you cannot decide what it is. It shows the whole different sides of white and blacks and to be in high school. But at the same time, question is sometimes when you watch superhero comic books, movies, TV shows, when you're in high school, like don't villains understand like when you see a superhero only appearing in the afternoon and nighttime, but never appear in the morning, you'll be like, yo, don't you think he's probably a high school student or something? He only appears after 3 p.m. until like 11 o'clock at night, like maybe as a curfew or something. Like, don't people question that? Because of me watching Spider-Man last year, the cartoon, and then watching also Static Shock, like, question like, these are high school students. Don't people question this? Because, like I spoke in the previous shows as well, that binge watch Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis also in high school, but he only appears in the afternoon and nighttime. So don't people, like, any type of villains understand, like, hey, maybe we should cause trouble in the morning because we will never get stopped. But James, what do you think about my comments and everything, and what have you been watching as well about? Because I know that you tried to watch Static Shock. I'm not sure if you told us.
Yeah, I started with like 2 episodes, but then I switched up to Justice League because of you.
Well, we did a switch.
Yeah, but what me and I have been doing is we're pretty much picking a movie, and then after we watch that movie, we find an actor within that movie, and then we watch a movie from that actor. So what we did, yeah, it just came out of the blue, right? So we were watching all of the WB monster movies. So we rewatched Godzilla, King Kong, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters, and it was like, okay, well, Kyle Chandler's in this movie, and he was also in Peter Jackson's King Kong. So then we decided to watch another movie that had Kyle Chandler in it, and that was The Wolf of Wall Street. And I think we're moving on to like Get Out next. We're gonna move on to Get Out because another one of the I think the guy was the pilot, like the guy with the white hair and the glasses. You haven't seen King of Monsters, so you have no idea who I'm talking about.
Because I'm like, oh, white hair with a guy with glasses. I'm like, I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, but there's a guy in King of Monsters who was the dad in Get Out. So we're gonna watch Get Out because he was in it, and then we're gonna watch Judas and the Black Messiah because Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield are in that movie. And then we're going to keep doing that until we run out of movies, which will be never. So that's pretty much what we've been doing, just having a blast, like watching a bunch of different movies.
This is very useful for me because I might need to do that since I'm going to be working in productions. And no, to anybody that's going to ask me or tweet me or DM me for any exclusives, no, the only person that might get exclusives is probably James. And also the group chat. But at the same time, I probably need to do that since I will be get hired in a lot of projects that's probably have 5 seasons or something, and I've never watched a show. So like maybe I should watch this just for the experience and know what's the background of the characters, know the background of who I'll be working with. And it's something that I'm like, for example, I was watching a show. No, I can't even say because I probably was gonna work for, so I can't say. But the show I was gonna work for has 2 seasons, but then I was gonna get hired for it, and then I was like, okay, maybe I should watch a couple episodes to know how it works and everything. And I love how knowing how production works now, I see movie and TV very differently now. I see how it's made. I see the process. I'm like, oh, where was the AD? How's the person behind the camera? Like I see it differently now, and I see visually aspect where if this was filmed in the street, then I'm like, okay, where's the PA? Oh, those are the background characters and everything. So it's very interesting now how I have that type of different mindset now.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. Like I would love to do like the program that you did because it's just like you get all of these amazing little insights into like just the filming industry in general. Like I'm envious of your opportunity.
Well, you should move in New York and live here for 6 months, and then you could get into the program.
what did I see? I saw a comment in here. Yes, say Spectacular Spider-Man. That was like that's a really good series. I love the comic book run too. I prefer the comic book run, honestly. Um,
Oh, but thing is, I binge watch the Amazing Spider-Man. That's with that has not Andrew Garfield. Who's the voice actor of Drake and Josh? What's his name? Drake.
oh, Josh Bell,
Yeah, Josh Bell. He's the one that played the Amazing Spider-Man.
Drake Bell.
Yeah, Drake. Yeah, Drake Bell. Oh yeah, Josh Bell. You said it, Drake Bell. He does an amazing job as Spider-Man at the end. He did it for I think two series, and I watched it when he worked with Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and he did it with the spin-off with those heroes and everything. But Spectacular Spider-Man has one of the best opening of any Spider-Man shows, and I really want to watch that. But for some reason, Disney doesn't have the licensing. I don't know why, but if one day I'm probably break and just buy it on Apple or probably on Amazon because I really want that show. Like it's just I think it's a 1 season or 2 season show, but so good. Like I wish they continue it. It was so good. It was such an amazing show. Like I wish with cartoons they could do what they did with the DC shows and the movies does, but with Marvel, I wish they could be that good. But hopefully now with Disney Plus, within the next couple of years, they could get in that route. Because I'm curious to know when we see the what if. I'm curious to know how's that going to be as well.
Yeah, for sure. Nova, Kyle Chandler is definitely super underrated. Like this dude gives great performances in literally everything that he's in. I can't remember the name of his TV series that I think it was a Netflix original, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually gonna look it up right now because I want to know. But this guy is great. Like when I was watching King of Monsters, I was like, you know what? He wasn't King Kong. This dude's awesome. I love that they brought him over into another part of the movie universe. I thought that was great.
It's
Bloodline.
Bloodline.
Yeah, I've heard great things about that show. I'm not sure if it's a Netflix exclusive or not. I think
I've heard of
is,
it.
but I
I've
could
heard
be
of
wrong.
Bloodline. I've heard of it. I just haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, Kyle Chandler's awesome. I love that guy.
But other than Static Shock, I watched Just League until like episode 10, and that's. But I spoke about that on Monday's show. But other than that, I haven't really been able to watch anything since of school. But once now that school's done, I could get back into my comics, into my mangas, and a lot of my TV shows. I was catching up on Batwoman, but until I'm fully caught up, I'll probably talk about it next Friday instead of today because I want to catch up because I'm like 2 episodes behind. Because right now they're on episode 5, I believe, or 6. So. But so far from the 2 other episodes I saw, interesting. Storyline, curious to know where they're headed. But I'm curious to know what's the end result. That's all I'm going to say. Because it's questionable storyline, but they're tying stuff good. But at the same time, I'm curious because The Flash comes back next week, if I'm correct.
Yeah, is it? I
Yeah.
thought it was like the beginning of March, right? Like
I'll
right at
double,
the very beginning, right?
I'll double check for you in a second.
Because I think they pushed it to like March 2nd or something like that. I think so. But yeah, Nova, thank you for bringing up Friday Night Lights.
Yep.
He's also great in that. Grey's Anatomy. Like the dude's just awesome. I'm surprised he doesn't get like more work. Like the dude's just awesome.
You're right. They did push it. So technically it is March 2nd.
Yeah. Which is even better for us, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But wow, damn, March 2nd, damn, that is literally around the corner. Wow.
Yeah. I'm excited for the Flash, man. Like I really hope this season does a better job, honestly. Like they have a lot to make up for, in my opinion.
Oh, they have a lot to make up, and I'm just curious to know how's everything gonna happen with Iris West and everything. And not more Iris West, but the storyline with Mirror Master because we spoke about it on 2 weeks ago about the trailer that came out, and with the characters, the building and everything, Iris West and Mirror Master with the storyline. I'm curious to know how's it gonna tie in for season 8. And is season 8 going to be the last one? That's a questionable. So it's just more like how is CW doing? Because we have more news about the Flash and Supergirl. Because I have questions for that too. But we'll wait for that. But it's just like, where are you guys going with this?
Yeah, I don't think Mirror Master is going to be a villain past like the mid-season. I think the mid-season finale will be the resolution of Mirror Master. And then the end of season 8, at the end of season 7 going into 8 will be Reverse Flash and Godspeed.
But do you think with this new starting in the beginning of the year for CW comic book shows, do you think they will still have a full 20 episodes? Do you think they will do 10 episodes and just still be done by May or June? because that's
Nah.
my hope. I hope they do 10, 12 episodes. Like, there's no official yet saying how many episodes for the season yet, right?
No, but I mean, we can just assume that it's 23 or
I
24
hope
episodes.
not.
You know how that goes.
I hope not. I hope they be done May and June. Call it a wrap for season 7, and this probably will be the best season since season 2, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah, let's hope so, man. But let's get into our first news topic. And this one was news that came out a little bit earlier this week, but I wanted to save it for this episode. Was the fact that the Wonder Girl series won't be moving forward on the CW. Now, how do you feel about this news? And do you think it's not moving forward on the CW so that they can be on HBO Max?
You said it right there, my brother. HBO Max. That's where they're gonna go. Jeff Johns and Brett Berlanti, I think it's his name.
Yeah, Greg Berlanti.
Greg, thank you. He's moving a lot of his shows to HBO Max, and I don't know why Stargirl went from the DC universe into CW. I question that because that should have just transferred into HBO Max. But I believe they know and see how Disney Plus is succeeding, how Doom Patrol is succeeding, and how Young Justice did good in their streaming service, and how Titans season 3 is going to succeed as well in HBO Max. So I feel like they said, okay, let's put more our money into HBO Max with the shows and have it much shorter and more condensed. And I feel like for Wonder Girl, it will work better on Titans and with Doom Patrol as a crossover and have its own show. I think it'll be a lot better on CW. Probably they'll be like, you know what, let's not make it too much soap opera. Let's not do this. It will suit better with Titans, with the gruesomeness, and Doom Patrol with the, I guess, trippiness. What do you call it for most people that probably have seen the show? But that's my hope. And I hope, as much as I enjoy CW for the past 20-something years with Smallville and everything else that's been there, CW gets very staggering having the same tropes all the time. And as much as I used to enjoy television shows, I'd rather have it on my streaming service where there's less commercials and at the same time more condensed, much better story, and much more better character development at the end.
Yeah, we've talked about this a million times. Like, it's a huge mistake to have these seasons going for 24 episodes a piece. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, the overall arcs are always really good, but then, like, it's constantly being bogged down by all of these stupid filler episodes that mean nothing. And like you said, like, the tropes, it just happens with the characters over and over again. Like, the biggest atrocity of this to me was Wally and Jesse, right? Like, whenever they introduced Wally for the first time, he would show up, he would be a really bitchy teen, and then by the end of the episode, oh, I'm sorry guys, let's be a family. And then the next episode, he's a whiny bitchy teen, and then by the end of that episode, okay guys, I'm sorry, let's be friends. And then they do that for like the entire season, and then they do the same thing with Jessie for an entire season, and then when they realized that it didn't work, they just removed her from the show completely. And of course the actress went off to do other things. But it's just like these tropes
As you should.
kill these shows, bro.
It sucks because we know Wally West is such a great character. He's a character that's been there for, I think, 40 years, 50 years in the comics. And to know that Wally's just sitting the sideline and everything, and then got moved to a C or B level character tier list with Legends of Tomorrow, it's like, yeah, they didn't know how to put him, and his contract they probably needed to do something with him because of his contract, and they put him there like, hey, good for him. He got money. But then he probably felt like, I signed up better for this. And then he said, you know what, I'm out. And then, like, would they do a Firestorm too? No, like, Firestorm is more better than that. But don't get off tangent. But I'm happy for Wonder Girl, and hopefully they do a lot more with her and on HBO Max.
Yeah, like, I hope Wonder Girl goes to HBO Max. I think that would be great. Like, you already have Wonder Woman in the MCU. I think it would be perfect to bring Wonder Girl to the TV. That could even lead to a live action Young Justice series.
Oh, yes.
I think that would be dope. You know what I mean? Nova, like you said, like less than 10 episodes. That would be awesome. Like 10 episodes is perfect. Like, I will say this. I will go on record. Lucifer, if you guys aren't watching Lucifer, I think Lucifer is a great show. The best season of Lucifer is season 4 because it's only 10 episodes. The rest of the seasons are good, but they get bogged down again because of all of these filler episodes to get to 22, 23 episodes. That 10 episodes in season 4, fire.
That's exactly what James just said. James knew I was watching Lucifer last year, but I took a huge pause because season 2 was literally repeating the same story. And Sam told me himself like season 2 and season 3 is a bit slow, but at the end of season 3 it builds up, and season 4 gets better because that's when Netflix gets it. I'm like, okay, so you tell me I need to hold myself strong for a season and a half. So like, damn, you know what? I'm gonna take a break and should rather watch other shows right now at the moment, but. Again, what James said, Lucifer is amazing, but I can't wait for season 4, 5, and 6 because those are better because it's more condensed and tighter stories, and that's much better entertaining because you don't get the same repetition of Wally being emotional at the beginning of the episode. Then, oh, you know what? Guess we're a happy family. Kumbaya, guys, drink up. Like, no.
Steve, yo, Young Justice is awesome. I haven't finished the 3rd season yet. I haven't finished the rest of Outsiders yet, but man, Young Justice season 1 and 2. Flames, bro. I did not expect that series to be so like dark and adult. You know what I mean? Like Young Justice is straight fire. And Chris, your wife has great taste because Lucifer is an awesome show.
I'm curious to know if Titans continue succeeding with season 3 and then season 4. I'm curious to know if they will do Aquaman, because you know how they already had a Superboy, Beast Boy, and they're gonna now do the Red Hood storyline. I'm curious to know, are they going to do Aquaman? And I'm curious to know because Aquaman used a lot of water. And you know how Titans in season 1 doesn't do a lot of visual effects. Season 2, they did much better with Raven, Starfire, and everything. But I'm curious to know how season 3 is going to look. So that means if season 3 looks its best, then they have the possibility to do Aquaman, because water CG / VFX animation is very hard to do. If you have seen anime, then you know how hard it is.
Yeah, it takes forever. It's really expensive. I don't know, man. The possibilities are endless. Like I feel like the one thing that DC is doing correct is just establishing that their multiverse exists. The DCEU is one Earth. The Matt Reeves Batman movies is another Earth. The TV shows is another Earth. The animated series is another Earth. So I think they definitely have something. They just need to build on it. Pedro, I also think. Did you mean Aqualad, Vash?
Yes, Aqualad. Thank you. Sorry, I said Aquaman.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
whoa.
That's who I figured you meant.
Yeah. I'm like, hold up, but I know. I'm glad people knew what I meant and everything. And I said that you don't have it on the show notes, but Matt Ryan as well. I have no clue why they're gonna make a new actor for the Matt Ryan as well.
Oh yeah, okay. So I completely forgot about that. Let's talk about that right now. Let's talk about
that pisses me off.
Constantine series that is going to take place within the Justice League Dark series that J.J. Abrams is producing with Bad Robot, right? So I'm very excited for the series, but Vash, to your point, Matt Ryan isn't going to be a part of it. They're looking for a completely different actor, and it's like, why? He's so good. He's great on Legends. He was great on his TV show, even though the writing for that show was terrible. The last 2 arcs of Legends were pretty much
so good because of him.
His Constantine, and they were so good because of him. And then the animated movies, the CW Seed series, all use his voice. It's like just use Matt Ryan, bro.
Me and Sam met him 2 years ago. Well, like not exactly. We saw him from afar because we had a interview with the cast about his Constantine animated movie. We spoke to his whole cast except him. Only the more popular people spoke to him. So, but just seeing him from afar and knowing his character, who he plays, like we have spoken, most people get the role. Like how Captain America, Chris Evans, like he has that role. Robert Downey Jr. has that role. There is other people like Mark Hamill, the Joker. Each people has a role. Keanu Reeves, he was good as Constantine, at that time and era of life with comic books. But Constantine, who he is today, Matt Ryan, does such a good job as the bisexual character who smokes but talks, who's British. That character, he embodies it so well. And the chemistry with the cast members on Legends, on his own show. His show got axed, and CW and Warner Bros. Said, like, you know what? Let's just bring him on to Legends, and nobody will ask questions. Nobody asks questions. Like, okay, good. So then why can't you do this for HBO Max with J.J. Abrams? But no, people like, people will see him as probably connected to CW. Like, no, just concrete. Make it the beginning, saying that this is a different universe in the credits, and that's it. Nobody's gonna ask questions. Nobody's gonna blink an eye. We have a multiverse in WandaVision. The movie is called Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness. We're not gonna question that. So have Matt Ryan, please. I want him.
Yeah, the fans would love it, and like you said, to your point, the fans wouldn't be confused. It would be easy. Oh, this is the Justice League Dark series. This takes place on a completely different Earth, and Matt Ryan is also playing Constantine. Like I do see the point in doing it, because as a studio, you want to separate your characters, but it's like, why? He's so awesome. He would be a huge draw for your series. It's like, oh shit, Matt Ryan's still attached to this. Let's do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I
it
will
would be
watch it because
huge.
of him. I would go to
Yeah,
theater if I don't know any of the other cast members that go to the movie. I'm like, if I know that Matt Ryan is there, that's what I need to know. I'll go watch it just because of him, because I know the character. He has played that role on 2 shows, and he has carried 4 legends in his own show, and he has the chemistry. He has that embodiment of the character. So just to not have him in that movie, it's like, really, you guys couldn't just have him there. It was so disappointing. But at the end of the day, I hope they change their mind. Hopefully they like, you know what? I think we need Matt Ryan. So like, I hope, but who knows?
probably not, man, because they're looking for someone new. They haven't made any casting announcements yet, but they're looking for a completely different person.
Hope
And I'm sure they'll be great. You know what I
Hopefully
mean?
they don't find it. Like, I just be like, you know what? We just haven't found the right person. Like, you know what? They just choose Matt Ryan. I'm like, yeah, I should have done that a long time ago.
Yep. I hope they change their minds. Like you said, it probably won't happen, but I hope they do. I'm excited for this Constantine
Yeah.
series. Either way, like Constantine, the Hellblazer series is an amazing series of comics, man. Like Constantine gets to do so many amazing things in a series.
If the chat, if you guys have not watched, and not read the Hellblazer series, it's so good. It's dark, but it's because that's Doctor Strange rated R version, but it's very good. You guys will be entertained, and if you are over 18, definitely go read it. If you want some good comic books of Constantine, definitely go read Hellblazer. It's so good because it has other characters in the comic books of DC, so you'll see a couple of crossovers as well.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I completely forgot. I posted it on Twitter, and I completely forgot to put it in the show notes tonight. So thank you for remembering.
That's what I'm here for. I'm your co-host just to look pretty, but I'm also here to bring knowledge.
All right, so let's move on to our next news topic. The Invincible trailer that dropped earlier today, and man, it was fire, bro. Vash, why didn't you give your thoughts first?
So when the Invincible news came out, which right here in the chat, when Invincible trailer came out, the news came out last year during the summer. Ray, I think, is the only one on the panel that reads it and knows about it, and he was excited. All of us knows about it, but we just have never read the comic book. And I'm excited for it, for the trailer alone, because it's so good, so gruesome, and I love how they don't hold back. But it makes sense because it's on Amazon, and Amazon doesn't hold back. It's bloody, it shows, but I wonder how many episodes. I'm not sure if they mention it. James, did they ever mention how many episodes? Like 26, 52?
I can't remember, honestly.
Yeah, I don't
can't
know.
remember if they made an announcement.
Yeah, I don't know if they did, but that trailer looks so good. It had the comedy, it has the dark humor, I could tell, but it has the entertainment value, and the animation looks good. It doesn't look CG at first. I thought it would look CG by the pictures, because it reminded me of, I know you hate it, but Ghost in the Shell, the one from Netflix that dropped last year. It kind of looked a bit like that from the poster. I'm like, wait, are they gonna do a bit of CG but cleaner? But this look amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in Robert Kirkman, man. Like the dude knows how to write a good story. I'm not done with the Walking Dead comics yet, but from what I've read, I mean, I love it. I love the way he writes. And this trailer gave me everything that I needed to know. It gave me a glimpse into the humor, how dark it is, how violent it's going to be. And I love the character, like Steven Yeun as Invincible. Like his voice is great. J.K. Simmons as the dad. Like I'm super excited for this series, and when it drops in March, they're dropping with 3 episodes, which is going to be amazing. Like I can't wait to watch those 3 episodes back to back to back. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Racing, Invincible is one of the best comic book stories ever made, and after I watch like the first couple of episodes, you guys know how I am. I'm probably gonna go read it right after.
Same as
just read the whole thing.
And plus, if we do actually read it, that would be like a nice comic book review as well. That we could do like probably like each volume a week. We could do a review about the series as well. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. As soon as it starts, yeah, every Friday we'll be talking about each episode of Invincible for sure.
And plus, I'm happy how streaming services are doing this type of style. How WandaVision, they dropped the first 2 episodes or 3 episodes. Invincible dropping the first 3 episodes. So I love how they know that people like this type of binge type of style, and people, studios, knows that people have this 3 or 5 episode rule. That if they don't hook them with the 3 or 5 episodes, they're not gonna continue. So I love how with this type of studios, they're no, all right, guys, on the first day let's drop 3 episodes, and from that they just do one on one. So I love how they're doing that type of style. You, James, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I love that style. I feel like it's a great tease, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
one episode is good if you start off really strong, but to give someone like 2 or 3 episodes right off the bat and then make them wait a week, like you've already given them like this great introduction to the characters, the world, the story, and then you can move on week to week. So I think this new way of doing things is actually really, really cool. Premiere the first 2 episodes and then move it to episodic, because then you can build up the tension, right? Like, as much as I would love to binge watch WandaVision, it's so much cooler to sit here and talk to you, talk to the people in chat, and talk about our different theories week to week as it's happening. So I think that format can't go away as long as the show's great. You know what I mean? Binging is awesome, but I love the way these shows are being released now.
I agree because it gives this type of discussion feel with this whole pandemic. We cannot meet person, talk about it over drinks, but it gives us this opportunity with YouTube, Twitch, and everything for us to get this type of discussion where me and James could have a chat, but then the chat in the live could also have it with us. They go to give our thoughts, and then we could like, oh wait, we totally missed it. You guys are right. So it gets that good discussion as a group, as people. So it's great about that.
Yeah, again, I can't wait for Invincible. Like, I don't know anything about the comic,
Same
but
here.
it looks amazing. Again, the dark humor, the action, the violence, the animation, it looks very Archer-esque, kind of, the
Yeah.
animation style, kind of. But man, I'm so excited for this. Like, I'm more hyped for this than I've ever been.
And plus the score that we heard during the trailer was amazing too. So I'm
Oh
curious to
yeah.
know, I'm curious to know, are they gonna have an opening, or are they gonna do like a little 5-10 seconds just so it's invincible? Or I hope they do an opening. Like if they do an opening just like anime or cartoon, ooh, that would be great more for the traction of the series itself. So it's very exciting for that.
Yeah, man. Like I said before, Robert Kirkman's a genius. I know whatever he writes, it's going to be fire. Like Ray already said, it's a great comic book series, so I can't wait. Steve, when I saw the cast list like at the end of the trailer, I was like, everyone's in this. Mahershala Ali, Stephen Yoon, J.K. Simmons, everyone's in this series, which is insane. So I can't wait to watch these amazingly talented people like put their voice work into this series. It's gonna be dope. Next up on news, the Mortal Kombat trailer. Dude, so I was always hype for this Mortal Kombat movie. I think the first Mortal Kombat movie is a great guilty pleasure movie. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination. The dialogue is horrendous, the acting is bad in some aspects, but man, the music, the fight sequences, that movie is just so much fun. Bro, just from beginning to end, that movie is just so much fun. And then Annihilation happens, and it's
Uh,
the biggest piece of
uh,
dog shit you've ever seen in your life. And then now you can tell that they're taking it serious while
ooh.
also trying to pay homage to the game, and also trying to throw in a little bit of humor in there. Now, I am a little bit worried about the dialogue, right? Like there is a moment in the trailer where Kano is like, Kano wins. I'm like, okay, don't do too much of that in the movie, because that's where it's gonna get like super cheesy.
So
I don't
that
need fatality and brutality and all that shit.
so it's exactly what you just said. I wish so they're paying homage to the game, but they don't need to do the game is the game. The dope voice actors will do such a great show like fatality, finish it. That suits the game because we're seeing it as a 1 point perspective. But they have to see it as a movie. They could have just told it like, my name is Kane. Like, just speak regular. Don't need to be like in the game. Don't need to be like the dub voice actors that do the game. Don't need to be that extra. But overall, I feel like as a trailer itself, trailer only, You got me freaking excited. Like, I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. I've been playing it since like the PS1, PS2, and just seeing it has gone over the years, and now there's Mortal Kombat 11 now, so that's freaking awesome. And to know that we finally, I've been waiting for this since like they've been talking about it, I believe since like 2016, 2015, like about Mortal Kombat movie. So like it was in production hell, and finally like they have some work, and now they finally have a trailer, and to see how well it looks, that blood scene when Sub-Zero was stabbing Scorpion, and literally
Bro.
grabs his blood, freezes it, and then stabs him again with his own blood ice. I was like, okay, this is awesome. That fight was amazing. And it just, and then Scorpion screaming at them with I don't know the weapon, I forgot the name. It just threw the weapon and say, "Come over here." I was like, yes,
over here.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go. Let's go.
Bro, I was so hyped. Yo, Nova, like we were just talking about, like the dagger, right? So
Yeah.
Sub-Zero stabs this dude and then uses his blood, turns it into a stake, and then stabs him, bro. That's some dope shit straight out of the game. It's amazing. Another thing that I liked was when Sub-Zero froze Jax's arms, right? Because in the games, Jax has lost his arms a couple different ways, right? It's been a couple different characters, or depending on like the iteration, he does it just to get augmented arms, right? Yeah. But in this, I love that he goes on mission to try to go after Sub-Zero, who is pretty much like this terrorist that they need to stop. And then he freezes his arms and breaks them off, bro. The visual effects look so good. Like, it's going to be so bloody, so action-packed. Oh, God, I can't wait.
It's very good and interesting, but I hope they don't pander too much on the humans aspect, because you know how some movies pander more on the human aspect, you know, Transformers, Godzilla, and other stuff like that, King Kong and everything. So I hope they just pander on the actual story, on the mythos, on Kang, like more of the characters that we have in this 18-20 character roster of Mortal Kombat. Hopefully we get into it. And I'm curious to know, Raiden, thank you. I'm curious to know his powers. How's he gonna look on screen? Because we did not see him throughout the whole trailer. No, we saw him, but we didn't see him in action, like his powers.
Right.
So I'm curious to know, like, are we gonna have the lightning eyes? Him looking like a guy, like, oh, are we gonna see that? That's what I'm excited for, because I can't wait to see each character spotlight, and just to see the comeback, how they're gonna do the stunts is gonna be totally amazing.
Yeah, like I love the character reveals. I love the costumes, and I'm actually gonna drop a link in chat right now. But the director of the film did a commentary on the trailer itself, and just listening to listening to him talk about it, like he seems so passionate. Like he kept stopping at each character, talking about the different ways he wanted to introduce these characters. He talked about working with different people to make sure that they got the Japanese culture correct and using the correct martial arts depending on each character. Pedro, to your point, and Steve, you are correct. Cole is a brand new character. He's not in Mortal Kombat, but he is going to be, the Johnny Cage type, if you will. He's going to be the lead of this movie.
That's what I had a feeling, because I was confused about that, because I was like, isn't Johnny Cage the main, like, point of view of story of where he goes in Mortal Kombat? But
it's usually Liu Kang, but
Liu Kang or Johnny Cage. It just depends on which story. But when we heard Chloe, I'm like, I guess you're the new version for the movie. But like, hey, as long as it's good, that's all that matters. And we know that for one scene throughout the whole 2-hour film, they're gonna play the original Mortal Kombat. We know just to play homage for us.
I hope so.
They're gonna probably do it for a good fight scene. Probably the Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. Yeah, like probably for the third act fight, like for the big one, or like for the almost climax fight. They're gonna just play it, and we'll be like just screaming, like, "Let's go, Mortal Kombat!"
Another thing that I liked, and I'm dropping the link to the director's commentary track. You guys can check that out after. But another thing that I liked from here is he talked about shooting a lot of this stuff on location. Yeah. So the Shadow Realm is actually a real location in Australia. It's all in camera. There's no CGI for the Shadow Realm. This is just a location in Australia, which is absolutely insane. So I'm so excited to see that, man. Like, again, listening to the director talk about the film, He's so passionate. You can tell that he's a huge fan of the Mortal Kombat franchise. You can tell that he's looked at the different games and any iteration and just tried to create his own thing while, paying respect to everything that came before. So, man, I was already excited because I just want a super fun movie. Like, I'm not looking for Citizen Kane. Like, I just want something really fun to watch. And I think we're going to get it, man. It's going to be dope.
One thing to add more to that is that I love how they're adding the story through the trailer, talking about the whole tattoo is like a birthmark. I find it very, very different than more about how the games have done it, saying that this is a story through time because the tattoo and the birthmark, and it's showed throughout the trailer. So I gotta also give props to the editing, telling us a story within the trailer, so for us as the audience to know what is going on, in case people that don't or have not played the game, they can at least know throughout the trailer what is Mortal Kombat, and this is a trial throughout time and the story and everything. So that was very fascinating through this point of view of how they are gonna portray this story.
Yeah, man. Again, I'm super excited. I think it drops towards the end of April, right?
April
I'm pretty
26th.
sure.
April 26th, I'm correct.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't wait for the end of April, man. Like, there's so many great things happening in April. My
And
birthday, Mortal
that
Kombat.
that movie, as much as I want to see King Kong versus Godzilla in
Oh
March,
God, I can't wait.
in the movie theater, I want to see Mortal Kombat in movie theater. That's the one I want to see. Like that's the one that got me. Like, you know what? You're the one I want to see in movie theater because I just want to be in a huge screen and just hear that surround sound and everything. Like as much as I want to see King Kong and everything, but just hearing that, like that's what I grew up with. Like as much as I love kaiju and monkeys and everything, but seeing Mortal Kombat on the big screen in the surround sound and just screaming with other brothers and sisters out there, just seeing the action that we grew up with, that's what I want to see, man.
Yeah, Pedro. Yeah, the painting of Kung Lao. Oh my
Yeah, that
God,
was
bro.
amazing.
There's so many deep cuts and hidden Easter eggs in this trailer. Like, I can't wait for this movie. I just can't wait.
I'm curious to know, are they gonna play? Are anybody gonna do any cameos from any of the games? Any of the voice actors. Like, I wonder if they have any of those background characters. So, like, that'd be very interesting as well.
Yeah, getting to see Goro as well was really cool. Like, just all of these characters, man. Like, I can't wait to see where it goes. I just hope it's good. I hope it's successful. Luckily for me, in Nashville, things with COVID isn't that bad. So I will definitely be going to the theaters to see all of these movies. I will be there opening night to see Godzilla versus Kong. That is legitimately my most anticipated movie for all of 2021, bro. Like, I cannot wait to see Kong and Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla. It is going to be flames, bro. Moving on to our final news topic, and I apologize in advance if I'm butchering her name, but Sasha Cale has been cast as Supergirl in Andy Muschietti's The Flash movie. Now, if you know anything about the Flash movie, this film has been through a bunch of different directors, a bunch of different scripts, so we don't really know what type of movie we're going to get here. Like, Andy Muschietti has done a lot of really good movies, in my opinion. He did he do It and It Chapter 2? I think he did both of them. But I love those movies. I think he's a really talented writer and director. So him tackling the Flash, I think that's going to be great. Sasha is a new actress. She's done a couple shorts. She did like one TV show. So this is pretty much going to be her first big role, and she's doing it as the first live, well, not the first, but the second live action Supergirl in the movies, and then she's going to be the first Latina Supergirl ever. So that's huge news. So Vash, what do you think about it?
One, well, you just said Latina representation, beautiful. A quick shout out to that. But two, what the hell they're doing in the Flash movie? Like, I don't know if Supergirl Flash has any type of not chemistry, but any type of storyline in the comics. So it's like, what are they doing in the Flash? Because they spoke of so many possible storylines. They said Flashpoint. They said they're gonna have Flash and fight versus Reverse Flash, or they said there was another room, I think it was Zoom as well. So it's like, and now they have Supergirl. So it's like, are you just slapping names just to slap names, or like what is behind, like what's happening behind the scenes with the producer and everything, saying like what should we do with it? Because it's like, you guys don't know yet what's gonna happen with Zack Snyder, Justice League, but Batman trilogy with Matt Reeves, and we don't know yet anything about Henry Cavill as Superman. and Ben Affleck said this is the last thing, but Cyborg, we don't know what's going on with him. So it's like,
He
what the
will
fuck y'all
not be in
doing?
the Flash movie. Yeah.
So,
I
so
mean,
it's like,
I still think it's going to be a version of Flashpoint, and that's why all of these characters are in it. That's why Michael Keaton's Batman is going to be in it. Well, his Bruce Wayne anyway.
but
That's
this
why
is
Ben Affleck is going to be in it, Supergirl, all of these different characters. So,
this is gonna be a way different Flashpoint adaptation from the comics for sure. Then, because I don't remember Supergirl ever being in the Flashpoint comic or in the movie. I mean, in the animated movie. So it's like, where are you going with this?
yeah, she wasn't
DC?
in the animated movie, but she was in the comics briefly cuz
Yeah,
that
but it was so
run
small though. But it was so
yeah.
small, like I think her role. So I'm guessing they're gonna probably expand her role in the movie. But it's like to do Flashpoint within 2 hours, just like we spoke about it last week and this past Monday. When you have a movie that's going to do an adaptation of a comic book like Flashpoint, it should be like probably a 2-part movie. Because for you to actually do this as a movie and have so many characters, and not a lot of people watch Supergirl, the TV show on CW. So how are you gonna explain it? Oh, she's a cousin of Kal-El. That's it. Like, what's the background there? Like, so I'm curious to know how they're gonna execute it, and that's very important to in any way to really execute a character in a movie where the audience can actually care for. That's key.
Yeah, facts, bro. And much like you guys in chat, like I'm also very scared of this Flash movie, especially if they're gonna try to do some version of Flashpoint, right? Like Flashpoint is one of my like top 3 favorite comic book runs ever. Like Barry Allen, the Flash is my second favorite DC comic book character ever. So it's like I am very scared. There are a lot of like side missions that happen during the Flashpoint series. There's a lot of stuff with the Atlanteans and the Amazons. There's just so much shit, and I just don't know what they're going to do in this Flash movie, honestly. But again, Andy Muschietti, I think he's a good writer and director, so I trust him. Let's just hope that WB lets him do his thing. As far as Supergirl goes, this is actually really really cool. Is in Man of Steel, if you pay attention to certain parts of that movie, you know that they investigate this ship, this Kryptonian ship that's been there forever.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we think that that's Kara. That was Kara's ship. That's when she landed on Earth, and she's just been around, and she's been hiding herself. So I think, and I hope that the Flash movie pretty much kind of connects like that theory from Man of Steel and brings it full circle to her appearance in the Flash movie.
I have no problem with that, but it's just that why can't we just get character build like the Flash? Like, can we just focus on her, him, Iris, maybe Reverse Flash, and just build on that in a movie scale, like how the Flash, the TV show from CW, focus on season 1 on Barry trying to overcome his problem by his father, by his mom's death, and Reverse Flash. Can we just focus on a movie and not add all different characters where I know people that I've met that have not watched the Flash TV show, and people that have not know about the Flash the character. So if they just find out the Flash the movie and go watch it on the big screen and see, oh, who's Supergirl, who's this, but doesn't know much about the Flash, like that's important as well.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. Like this movie should just be about Barry and Thawne and
Yeah.
Iris. You know what I mean? Like there's so much you can do with Thawne. Thawne is
Oh, so much.
literally like rooted throughout all of Barry's history. Like Thawne has legitimately gone throughout time, and anytime Barry gets friends, he goes back in time, kills them, and completely removes them from existence. Barry gets another friend, he goes further back in time, erases that person from existence. There's so much you can do with just Barry and Thawne. You don't need to do Flashpoint right now. Let's
don't.
establish the
You really
Barry
don't.
Allen character, and then we can move on to these other things. Like his introduction in Justice League is not enough. I barely like Ezra Miller as this version of the Flash, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I don't really care for it. Like I do like the quips, but I hate the way he runs. And he's a coward, right? He's an absolute coward. Like
And Barry's not a coward. Barry's the person
Yeah.
who runs. Like, yeah, as a kid, he was a coward because he was always being chased by bullies and everything. But when you grow up, he was a person that goes against bullies. He was a person that goes against villains and everything. And when he got his powers, that gave him more motivation, gave him a reason to fight for his father, for justice and everything. And that's when he became a scientist. And
Mhm.
and the quips, yeah, he had the quips. You know, Barry, Green Arrow, all these type of characters
Yeah, it's
have
just the
quips.
quips in Justice League were bad.
Yeah, it's just those quips in Justice League were bad. But Barry is known for quips because that's how he fights. It's just like Peter Parker, just like Green Arrow. They have the quips because that's how they fight the villains. And those are people that are humans, but with just extra special of skills. But Barry in Justice League reminded me, like I said it at the last night's show, they felt like Bart Allen more than Barry Allen because Bart Allen is more like he has those powers, but he's more of a coward because he doesn't want to face the true hero because he has the big presence of his great grandfather and his plus of his uncle, a Wally and a Barry. So that's why he's a bit scared to really live up to that type of potential. So when I saw that, I'm like, you acted more like Bart, not more like Barry.
Yeah, it's a huge problem that I have. And Chris, I'm with you. Like, I hope that they make alterations to his personality in the Snyder Cut, much like Batman as well. Like, Joss Whedon's version of Batman fucking sucks. Like, Batman doesn't make quips, okay? Batman does not make quips. He's the guy that laughs at Barry for all of his quips. You know what I mean? Like, that's
and plus
not
Nightwing.
Batman.
Nightwing is the one that make quips, and plus Tim at times, but it's mostly Nightwing that make quips.
Yeah, and Pedro, I'm also with you, right? Like, I would be completely open to having a completely different villain before Reverse Flash so that you can actually save his biggest rival. But I'll toss that question to you and to the rest of chat. What Flash villain would you like to see before we actually get to Reverse Flash? Because I think that would be really cool. There's so many like great characters that you can get to. Like, they did a terrible job with the Thinker on the Flash TV series. The Thinker on the show fucking sucked. The Thinker in the comics is amazing because, yeah, Barry can run fast, but the Thinker can think way faster than Barry. You know what I mean? So being smarter, being able to think faster on his feet, that would be a great villain for the Flash. But
so
I don't know.
my three villains, my three options I would like to see on the Flash, if you're not gonna count Zoom or Reverse Flash as two speedsters. If I'm counting out of the rogue galleries of Barry Allen Flash, Grodd is a Thinker, and Captain Cold.
Yes, bro.
Those are my three recommendations for the villain of the Flash movie. If it wasn't any of those two speedsters, Grodd is because you have a guy that thinks but also has strength. So the Flash, Barry cannot use his super speed only. He also needs to find different ways of how to take out Grodd because he's a monkey with super strength and thinks smart. And like James just said, the Thinker, intelligent. You have to fight with super speed, with super smarts. You have to see which one will fight, which one will win. And then Captain Cold because super speed. Barry likes to make quips, but he also likes to be fast. But also at the same time, he doesn't pay attention to every single thing because he's cocky, because he's fast. But Captain Cold is a person that knows to observe. So if he fights Captain Cold, he will trip because of the ice powers, and he's a person that knows how to be tactical. So for me, Captain Cold for that reason. If he does the duel Captain Cold and Heatwave, that would be even better. But I don't know if they want to do the whole rogue type of team up yet. So that's why I say only one type of villain. So Captain Cold.
I mean, that's what these superhero movies do all the time now. They just throw in 2 to 3 villains. So why not just do Captain Cold and Heatwave?
Yeah,
I'm with Pedro. I would love to see Mirror Master, bro. Like, Mirror Master is such an interesting villain when he's done correctly, right?
But I feel like it's too soon because of how
Right.
CW is doing it. Like if CW did it in season 3, then I'll be like, okay, then let's do that because it's been years. That's why I say Captain Cold, because Captain Cold hasn't been used in like 4 years already. So that's why people forgot about it. Then we could have a renewed character.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of potential for Flash movies in general, but I'm just worried because.
But who's your 3 options? You didn't see your 3 options of who would you like to see as a villain?
Captain Cold, Mirror Master, and I'll also go with Grodd.
Okay, oh nice.
Yeah, because I mean, using Grodd, like you can expand the universe using Grodd, and then Grodd's intellect would be a great match for Barry's.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like everything going on with like Grodd and his backstory and the entire hidden civilization of intelligent apes. Like I think that would be really interesting and super deep cuts, but if done right, I think could work really well.
Who's Turtle? I'm about to search him up.
So Turtle, Turtle can slow time, which gives the illusion of super speed. So Turtle would actually be pretty cool too.
Oh, Turtle. I think that was like a one-off villain in the Flash TV show. I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah, he was.
Yeah. Okay. It makes. Yeah. I don't know too much of this character. Oh, and he is from the Golden Age comics. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's really cool because to a degree, like he can slow down even Barry, right? Like he can slow time around himself. So he could slow Barry and even be able to keep up with him in some aspects. So the turtle will be a great choice. I like that. Deep cuts.
Yeah, that's a deep cut because it comes. It happened in the Flash TV show in season 2, episode 10.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's why I didn't remember him because it was really in the beginning of the show, and it makes sense because this was a one-off character, and he was really, and this could have been a character that probably could have lasted longer.
Yeah. So Pedro, I'm definitely talking about Grodd from the Justice League animated series.
Oh
That
yes,
is that is that cold, calculated Grodd. That's what I need. I need that Grodd in a Flash movie. I think that would be insane.
it would be good because also you could build the whole Gorilla City,
Yeah, bro.
Savitar as well, the other two gorillas as well. I forgot their names because they were so popular within the Hotel of Mythos, but that will bring the story of Gorilla City into fruition, and then you can have another Flash movie, number 3 or 4, and bring back the whole Gorilla City and everything, how important that is, or maybe have the Justice League with the Injustice with Grodd and everything. So that, like, if they plan it well, just have comic book writers and know how to give their own opinion with these type of movies. But producer in DC, Warner Brothers, who knows what the hell they're doing?
Yeah, man. Like Walter Hamada, like sometimes it seems like he knows what he's doing, and then other times it seems like
Yes.
he has no fucking clue what he's doing. Yeah, I also saw Noah's comic. Go ahead and talk about it.
Dr. Alchemy, I want him done right too, man. Uh,
Yes.
and plus Dr. Light, both
Mm-hmm.
Alchemy and Dr. Light done well because those are two villains. If you have not seen Teen Titans or if you're not seeing the comics for those two characters, I want them done right because Dr. Alchemy in the Flash show was very subpar. Could have been way so much better, but
Yeah, I mean
um,
he was just a lackey for Savitar.
yeah,
Like that's it. Like you have
Savitar, ooh,
Doctor
so
Alchemy.
trash.
Really, you thought it was trash? I actually, kind of like Savitar.
The whole costume, but then finding out that that's a different alternative version of Barry is like,
Oh man, I that's the part I loved about it. Like the moment we saw Savitar, I think it was like the second or third appearance of Savitar. I was like, oh, that's future Barry.
I had a feeling too, but like I prefer the comic version where that's a person that
Oh
was
yeah, 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 yeah.
like that story was like, oh, that's a like it was almost like Black Adam, like his powers of those Avatar. So that's why I like, oh, are they gonna probably give some Black Adam type of reference, like showing that he's a person that got his powers from the gods back then and everything? But no, this is future Barry. He got an ugly looking face, and this is just him looking all type of emo because he lost Iris and everything. Like, I get it, you lost the woman of your life. I get it, but like,
I would actually like to talk about this on like a separate episode because
that's
like
totally fine.
I
We
actually
should
really
review the Flash next week before it comes back.
yeah, we can do that for sure. That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, we can do that with well, I might as well say it right here. So Spicy Lady from Spicy Lady Entertainment is going to be joining us in the next episode of Villains to talk about WandaVision episode 8. So that's going to be dope.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yes, Gorilla City is definitely like Wakanda. So that's what I was talking about, like True's Grodd,
Yep.
because you can instantly open up the entire world by introducing Gorilla City, introducing all of this different tech and all of this different stuff. Yeah, yeah, like Bree said, like I instantly knew that it was Barry. First of all, it's the Blue Lightning, Future Flash, right? The fact that he knew every single thing before the team did, it's because he has future knowledge, Future Barry. Like it was instant, bro.
And plus, I just want Cisco done right. Because if you know the comics of Vibe, my guy, if people don't know Vibe in the comics, this character is, yes, he's probably like a C level character in the comics, but his powers is almost like 8 level. People don't understand his character is almost like he probably will have a name in the roster of the Justice League front runners. That's how
Dude.
strong he is.
Dude,
But
Vibe is OP as fuck.
people don't understand, and like when you see him go from less of a character in the TV show, like what the fuck y'all doing? The hell y'all doing?
It pisses me off. It's like, dude, even his alternate, like an alternate version of him, it's like, dude,
What's so much
we're
more
gods.
powerful?
We are gods. This dude, just by accessing the vibrations of reality, can tap into different parts of the multiverse. He can see parts of the future, the past. Like, Vibe is so OP. And then, like, I get it on the show. They want to give Cisco more. They want him to just have the intellect, right? Like, they just want him to be the engineer genius. But still, you have Vibe, bro. Like, he could save so many people. If we still had Vibe, he could help Barry get to Iris. You know what I mean? Yes, he can still do that as an engineer, as a scientist, but I miss Vibe. And I really hate the way that character has been handled. And it fucking pisses me off, honestly.
Oh, trust me too. That's why I didn't want to bring it too much. But it's like, overall, we got sidetracked of how the Flash got a new character in the movie. It's called Supergirl. Yes. So, as you guys can see, we're very passionate about the Flash, the character in the comics, because me and James are big fans of Barry and Wally and the Flash lore. But we will probably talk about the one day after main topics of and give you recommendations of comic books of the Flash, because here's your segue, James. Comic books.
Yes. So main topic number 1, we are going to be talking about, I want to recommend a comic book to you guys. So I asked Vash to pick a comic book series that he would want to recommend to readers. So I think this would actually be a really cool segment that we could do maybe like once or twice a month. We could even do that with a guest, like come on the show and pick like a comic book run that you would recommend to someone. So Vash, I'm going to start with you. Let's go through this real quick because I want to get to WandaVision.
And to add to what James just said as well, chat, if you want to give us any recommendation to us in the live chat or in the comments, please let us know what you guys want us to read, maybe review on a future show. So let us know down in the comments. But mine is one of the big ones. One of the most popular graphic novel out there is called Watchmen. And it was one made by Alan Moore, and it has a #1 New York Times bestseller and one of the Time Magazine's best novels of all time. For you to have that on your cover on a graphic novel, that shows big times, because back then comic books weren't as popular on Time Magazines or newspaper and everything. And for you to have your name and your comic book on Time Magazine and New York best-selling, that's big props. And if you're a big fan of comic books and have not read Watchmen, or you just getting into comic books, read Watchmen. It's, I think, like 200 pages. Let me just read that real quick. Nope, I was off by 100. 342 pages or so. It's definitely worth it. It's costs, I think, about $14 or $20 or less, but it's definitely worth it. It's so good. It gives you the lore of how Watchmen first started. It came from the adaptation of Zack Snyder Watchmen from 2012, 2011. James, is that correct? The year?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed Watchmen from Zack Snyder from 2011, 2012, if I got that year right, definitely go read
2009.
Oh, wow. I was off by 3 years. 2009 on Watchmen. So definitely go check the adaptation that Zack Snyder took off. And it gives you what if heroes were in our society in the 1970s, 1960s, if I'm correct, this was portrayed. And how would they have been and how would they have treated when you have a person like Dr. Manhattan, if you have a person like... I don't want to spoil the characters and everything. For those that have not watched the movie or have not read the comic book, go please read it, because it's one I really suggest. I read this a couple years ago for a class for film, and it was so entertaining, and I have not ever regretted since then. I probably might do a reread just because of how good it is. So I highly suggest it for anybody that's not read it. Read Watchmen. It's so good.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. Like, Alan Moore is just one of the best like comic book writers in my opinion. The guy just knows how to write these characters. It's clear that he understands what needs to be put into these books.
And plus the art still holds up. The art still holds up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For mine, I had something else in mind, but I'm actually gonna switch it up real quick. So we already talked about it, and it's because we talked about it is the reason why that I'm going to recommend it officially here on the show, and that's Flashpoint. Definitely check out the Flashpoint series. It is
Do I have
absolutely
Flashpoint?
amazing. The animated
I
movie
don't.
did a really good job of adapting the comic and not like, because there's a lot of side stories to Flashpoint, but the animated movie does a really good job. So if you've seen that and you love that movie, definitely check out the Flashpoint comic book run. They go so much deeper into the war between Themyscira and Atlantis. That goes so much deeper. It goes so much deeper with Thomas Wayne Batman. It goes so much deeper with Barry and Thawne. It's I think it's even a little darker than the animated movie as well. So it's a
It's
lot
been
bloodier.
it's been years since I read the actual comic book run because it what happened in the movie was so good of how Bruce, oh sorry, not Bruce, what's his father name? Damn, I just lost his father name.
Thomas
Thomas.
Wayne.
Where Thomas just shots a bullet in his head. But in the comic, I was reminded actually a couple weeks ago that it was actually more brutal in the comics.
Yeah, he puts a
And
sword through his chest.
yes, that's what it was. Thank you, a sword. And it just shows been what Reverse Flash said in the movie. They shortened it down because the comic was much longer. His speech or technically his
Hmm.
monologue. And villains love to do their nice long monologues, and that's why he got stabbed. But it just shows that Reverse Flash, Edward Thawne, he's fucked up in the head. My dude, what he said in the comic, I remember that very well because he has done a lot of crazy shit. He's like, oh, do you remember that time you found your bike? That was me. Do you remember that time that you almost got drowned in the pool? That was me. So like all the stuff he says, like my dude has an obsession with Barry Bonds just because like he is who he is because of Barry, because of his obsession.
Hmm.
But also at the same time, if people know, he was admired because of Barry. He was influenced because of Barry. Like everything in his head, that's all he cares about. Obsession.
Yeah, like his like they're saying in chat, like his monologues throughout that
Yep.
entire run, bro. It's just flames. Like Thawne is an absolute psychopath. But it's like what would you do if you idolized someone for years to the point where you did plastic surgery to look like the person that you idolized, you recreated the accident that made that person the Flash, and then you get speedster powers only to find out that you are this person's greatest antagonist throughout all of time.
For me, if people don't know, I I admire The Rock, but I would never be that creepy against The Rock. I will, if I ever have the chance to work with him, I would respect the banners, but I will have a mutual respect, a beautiful relationship, but nothing more. Like, I know where it is. I don't want to become Iberton, have tattoos and become like, yeah, I'm the newer version of The Rock. Like, no, that's just a nah, that's a dub.
And Steve, yeah, I mean, Flashpoint spawned the New 52, which had some amazing runs, and Pedro is bringing up White Knight, Court of Owls. So the one that I was gonna bring up originally was White Knight, but since we started talking about Flashpoint, I was like, man, like my choice has to be pick up Flashpoint right now. But yeah, White Knight is absolute flames. Like I read White Knight and I did a review on the Popaholics podcast with Chris, who's in chat right now. I definitely highly recommend subscribing to their podcast as well. And Vash and I are also going to be recording with Popaholics this Sunday to talk about Tom King's The Vision, which has a lot of like Easter eggs and stuff for WandaVision and the things that are going on right now. So that's something else that I recommend. I'll throw in a second one in there. Definitely check out Tom King's Division. And again, subscribe to Popaholics podcast so that you can listen to Vash and I talk about Tom King's Division with Popaholics. It's going to be amazing.
And plus their YouTube channel as well that they just launched, I think, a couple weeks ago. They said so as well to the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. Chris, feel free to drop the link to the YouTube channel in the chat. I don't mind at all. Go ahead and drop that in. But yeah, White Knight is absolute flames. I haven't finished the sequel series yet. I'm not done. I'm only halfway through the sequel series to that. But man, so good. Just thinking about the fact that Joker was able to flip the world on its head to see him as the hero and to see Batman as the antagonist, because they're both sides of the same coin. The only difference between Batman and Joker is one bad day. And that's what he proved to the people of Gotham. It's like, this guy is just as crazy as me. Look at all of the property damage that Batman has done with his bat tanks, his Batmobiles, all of the things that he blows up. All of these things is because of him. You're worried about me? Look at this guy. You know what I mean? So definitely check out White Knight. Check out our review of White Knight again on the Popaholics feed, because it was a really great conversation and a really, really good comic book. So definitely check it out.
And plus, we hope that you guys enjoy this new segment, because we hope to do it again in the future. And again, if you guys want any type of recommendation that you guys told us and to review it, we will. Just write it down in the comment section below after the stream, because that'll be helpful for us to come back and to look back at the recommendations. Much easier for us to know, because we would love to actually get back into comic books and review them for you guys, because we love comic books, we love the lore, but at the same time we have some gaps, because at the same time we're content creators, but we also get busy to read. But if you guys give us a good recommendation, it give us a reason to actually go check it out and then just talk about it.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to do this. And we'll start off doing it like once a month, and then we can gradually go up from there. But I definitely want to get back into like reading more comics than I used to.
Hell yeah.
I'm still not done with all of War of the Realms in Marvel. So definitely check out War of the Realms if you haven't already. Like, the Thor part of War of the Realms is fucking awesome. But I'm not done with that. But yeah, man, like, I definitely want to talk about more comic books on more episodes. So if you guys like that idea, drop it in chat, let us know on Twitter, and we will definitely be doing more of that for you guys.
And plus, one more thing, it doesn't have to be Marvel, DC. It could also be Dark Horse. It could also be Indie Comics, Bloodshot, anything like that. So don't try to just put Marvel and DC. If you guys have any recommendations about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well, because they also have great runs as well, but I haven't read all of them. So if you guys have any recommendations about Dark Horse, Image Comics, anything else, feel free as well.
Yeah, definitely. I would actually love to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They have some great runs.
The comics are super dark, bro. Like, in the beginning, like, the original source material is hella dark. So I would actually love to get into that.
Plus, I know that they have some crossover with, I think, Power Rangers and Batman as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of great comic series out there, and this will force me to read more shit. Like, for anime lately, like, I read a bunch of different manga, and I do read comics here and there. Like, the last thing I read was Three Jokers, which is absolutely amazing. If you haven't checked out Three Jokers, check it out. It's only 3 issues. I think each issue is close to like 100 pages, but man, it's enthralling. Every single page just leaves you wanting more. So definitely check out Three Jokers as well. But yeah, guys, like, throw in your suggestions, like, let us know on Twitter, and we'll probably use those suggestions on one of the future shows. And we'll talk about it with you guys, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
This will be awesome.
All right, so it is time. It is time for main topic number 2. It is time for us to give our full spoilers discussion on WandaVision episode 7. This is another episode that I have like a shit ton of notes. There's so much to unpack in this episode. There were so many theories that we came up with Chris and Ray, our previous guests, that actually came true. And then there were a lot of things, not a lot. There was like 1 or 2 things, 2 theories that I had that were debunked, right? So one of my theories was, I thought due to her trauma, Wanda brought Pietro from another part of the multiverse to replace her brother in this universe. We now know that that's not true at all. We know now that Agatha Harkness created this version of Pietro to get under Wanda's skin.
But so I would take that theory on my side, correct? Because I kind of was right about that when I said it 2 weeks ago. So I'll take that like half point. I'll take the half credit right now. I'll take, like, you know what? I'll take the half credit for me saying it, because 2 weeks ago I said, like, you know, I think it's Agnes or somebody working. So because I said it's probably Nightmare or maybe Mephisto's doing the work, and maybe Agnes working with them. So that's why I say I take the half credit, because Wanda said when Vision asked who's at the door. And me working now, knowing more about production and everything, writing is key. And when you know that writing is good, she said, this is not me doing it. I don't know who that is. So it shows that she had no power or knowledge of her accessing or doing this. So it maybe wasn't her, or maybe it wasn't was her subconscious. But she said herself, like, this is not me. So maybe the writing was not really lying to us in that moment. And it shows it wasn't lying to us, because it shows that what James just said, Agnes was the one that did it with her magic. And that's why, in case people wonder, her magic is purple, because to show that if she's doing the magic, it's purple because she's doing it, and Wanda's red. So that's for the visual aspect. But James, go ahead.
Yeah, my other theory on Pietro was that he was a creation of Mephisto or Nightmare. So I kind of want to start there and then just kind of like work our way back throughout the episode.
Okay.
Because I think there's just so much shit to talk about with Agatha Harkness and Wanda and Pietro and the possibilities between Mephisto and Nightmare. Because I was talking to Chris and Vash right before the show, and I'm starting to think, the more and more that I think about it, I'm starting to think that it's actually Nightmare more than Mephisto. And I'll go into my explanation with that. The reason why I think it could be more Nightmare than Mephisto, even though I do think Mephisto is still involved in some way, Nightmare is a being that rules over the dream dimension, right? So in the last episode, we also talked about the fact that I think Wanda made a deal with Agatha or with one of these devils to get Vision back and to make this world, which is also another reason why I think Vision isn't able to leave. Vision is a part of what made this world a reality. I think Wanda's wish was to have a happy life with her husband, and Vision was a catalyst to the hex being created. So that's why he can't leave and he's constantly being pulled in. So because of the hex, everyone is technically in some type of dream state. So with Nightmare being in control of the dream dimension, he could have granted Wanda's wish, but in return, when you take over this entire city, when you take over this entire place of Westview, all of these people that are asleep in this dream world, I now get to feed off of them. And Agatha is pushing Wanda to expand the hex over the entire planet so that Nightmare can then feed on the dreams, feed on the astral forms of all of the people within the hex that now cover the entire planet. So that is one reason why I think it's Nightmare. But it could also be Mephisto, because Agatha was after the kids. We all know that the kids, Wiccan and Speed, were what's the term? I think it's like soul fragments of Mephisto. So it would make sense that Mephisto would come after the kids. You know what I mean? So Agatha could be working for multiple demons. It could be Nightmare. It could be Mephisto. Like, I don't know. Again, the more and more I think about it, I'm leaning more towards Nightmare, simply because of the dream dimension aspect.
So it's very entertaining to hear James speak about this, because the way I envision the way James process is right now is like he's stuck in a road. He's trying to decide, should I go left, should I go right? Should I go left or should I go right? So he's like trying to decide, like, wait, but left is like some type of restaurant he loves. Let's have at McDonald's. And then for the right one, it's Burger King. He's like, damn, I'm in the mood for a Whopper. I'm in the mood for a nice bacon. I don't know McDonald's food. I'm gonna just say McDonald's bacon. I don't know.
Bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle.
Okay, yeah. Nice pun from last night right there. So that's the way I see James' mindset. But also to add, I like how another theory of ours came true, of how Agnes confirmed in her little nice montage of her killing Sparky. She confirmed, like, I'm the one to kill Sparky too. I'm like,
that
we
bitch
knew that.
Killed the dog. That bitch killed the dog.
I was right because I said it. I'm like, guys, I think she killed Sparky. And then you and Chris were like, damn, if she really did, that's kind of messed up. I was like, yo, guys, it's obvious. She literally said, oh, I found Sparky right here by my grass. Like, you really think we could believe that we found Sparky right by your grass? Like, really?
And I love the Wicked Witch of the West vibes. Like,
yes.
She actually comes out with the dog. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too. Like, I love it, bro. Like, she is legit the Wicked Witch of the West. Another thing that we notice in the base in Agatha's basement, the book. There is a book
thank you for bringing that. Yep.
Straight from the Sanctum Sanctorum in Doctor Strange. So whatever devil she's working for, and whatever devil she's working for her, and whatever devil it is, whatever demon, they're using this book of spells to do whatever they're doing in this hex. Like, this show is amazing, man. Like, they're doing so many amazing things in this show. Like, it's absolutely insane. There's also a bunch of symbols on the walls.
Oh yes, so many
There's demon
symbols.
faces on the walls as well. So again, to Light's point, it could be Mephisto and Nightmare. It could even be more demons that Agatha Harkness is working with. Who knows?
And plus, Wanda should have really like the more down you go down that basement, you should realize this is not a regular basement because this is a house that has like a box. Houses only have a small basement. And the more deeper you went into, like Wanda, you should be realizing, like have your powers ready, have your hands ready, like have to be prepared. But no, girls just kept wondering, like, oh, I'm gonna go through this Starkey, like ranches here, nothing suspicious at all. I see a book looking from Doctor Strange movie. I'd be looking at these things. You know what? Something weird's going on here. But I'm not gonna question it. She just kept going through it, and then I'm not sure if Agnes controlled her mind because we did the shot of Agnes saying like, oh, I've been doing all this, and then Wanda's face and her eyes become all purple. So I'm not sure if she put a spell on her or
Yeah,
if
she did.
Yeah, right. She did, right?
It was that was a great homage to when Wanda does it to Tony Stark in Age of Ultron. Well, not just
Nice.
Tony, but to everyone.
Yeah,
But
yes, everyone.
even I picked Tony because even down to the lighting of it, it looked so reminiscent of when she did it
Oh,
to Tony in Age of Ultron. Oh my god.
oh yeah, because the
It
dark
was
lighting and
amazing.
everything.
Yeah. And yes, Chris totally called it that Agatha was faking it in the car. I thought it was a possibility because we all knew from episode 1 that Agnes was Agatha Harkness. We
Oh yeah, we
all
knew.
believed that from episode 1. And we all knew that because of her amazing powers, her powers as a sorceress is the reason why she was able to combat Wanda's powers. But now we know that Agatha has been running the whole thing. The show isn't WandaVision. The show is Agatha Harkness,
Yeah, because
which
it's
is
funny.
amazing.
So to go back real quick to what you just added, in the Modern Family type of intro, it said WandaVision created by Wanda. Sorry, now created by Wanda Maximoff. It's very
Hmm.
interesting that I'm shocked that didn't say like slash by Agnes to try to lead us. But then at the end of the episode is when they actually say, oh, this is actually all by Agnes herself because she's the one that created everything. And remember in episode 3 or 4 was it when the I think Sherbs is the one that had the chainsaw going through the door that was
Herb,
going through the
yeah.
fence. Yeah, Herb that was going through the fence. It's because she took him out of the mine and was corrupting his mind even more.
Yeah, Chris, I can't get the song out of my head. It's been Agatha all along. I can't get the song out of my head. Nova, dude, if the full coven from the Salem witch trials, oh my god,
Ooh.
that would be insane if that's something they're bringing into the MCU. This also this episode also gives us Easter eggs into Wanda potentially being the villain of Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man 3 in some degree, right? Because if Agatha is controlling Wanda now, she's now controlling the Hex. You know what I mean? So who knows if Doctor Strange will have to stop Wanda?
So to add to what you're saying, again going back to the middle, or like take 5 minutes before that, Monica Rambeau was right there fighting her and was saying, "Hey, Wanda, let me help you. Don't be portrayed as the villain." And then she said, "Maybe I already am the villain because I
Hmm.
already have done all this." So maybe she has accepted all the mistakes that she's been doing already for the past week or so because it's been 2 weeks because of Endgame and. Darcy was explaining this to Vision, and Vision starting to understand that, oh, okay, because like, oh, I died, but then I got reborn because AK, our good purple friend Thanos, just brought back the time, and then he died again in front of Wanda herself. So Vision starting to understand what's going on.
Yeah. Someone brought up House of M. Yeah,
Oh yeah, how's
definitely.
that?
Like House of M is all over this. Like in House of M, Wanda literally loses her mind and she has to be stopped. So it's like there's some really cool stuff in here. I would love to see Doctor Strange having to stop Wanda and then having to help her to go after whatever demons that Agatha is working for.
It's very interesting of how the whole cinematography is going for the basement as well. Like I just want to
Mhm.
add my last quick thoughts for the basement for folks to talk about the other stuff that happened in the much earlier episode, and the basement, the whole cinematography, the details about the demons, the signs, the symbols, and the book. They did a panel shot for the book for us to focus on it and know that would be a key point in episode 8 and 9, and that's going to be important in Doctor Strange as well, because when we saw the Doctor Strange movie, there was, I think, 2 or 3 books missing, and it shows that this is one of the books that was missing.
Yeah, when I saw that book, I was like, dude, this is sick, man. Like, this is ancient magic, ancient forbidden magic that shouldn't be used. So whatever it's being used for, it's a part of the hex, and I can't wait to get like the full story of it, man. It's gonna be dope.
To add more thoughts of what you said about Nightmare and our boy Mephisto. So my thoughts about this, I believe it's Nightmare as well, because if you have seen the cartoon show of Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, that me and James spoke about much earlier, that is voiced by Drake Bell, not Josh Bell, Drake Bell. And Ultimate Spider-Man, they have an episode, a 2-part episode with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man himself fighting Nightmare. And he puts the whole city of New York City to sleep because he feeds off people in dreams and in nightmares. And Spider-Man has to fight his idea of accepting Uncle Ben being dead and everything. But what Nightmare did not see coming is that Peter Parker already accepted that. But it's because that gives the motivation that to not let that happen again to anybody else. So Wanda, I wonder if this is her accepting a vision instead. And would that break the spell? That'd be interesting, because that's how it breaks the spell usually for Nightmare powers. But not that this bit has.
I don't think it will.
That's the question. Not that that's been going on for days now. Nightmare has so much power now over the whole town, and now she expanded it, and they got more people within the hex. Like you said in the chat, saying what happened if she puts the whole hex or around the whole world, and then puts it within Nightmare, and Doctor Strange will see like, hey, what the hell's going on with my planet that I'm trying to protect? Like, what's going on here? What dark forces is being put in hand? So I believe it's Nightmare more than Mephisto, but like chat said, Light said, it could be both. We're not disagreeing. It could be both. Me and James are just putting theories out there. But like James said, it could be more than 2 people, because we don't know. The Dark Realms, the Dark Powers has more than just one bad guy. So it could also be Dormammu. It could also be the guy that hates Doctor Strange, his type of nemesis. I can't remember his name.
Mordo,
thank you. So
I don't think it's him. He wouldn't use forbidden magic. Like, his whole thing is about stopping people from using forbidden magic.
Yeah, so it could be anybody, but I am with James. I'm more on the right side. I believe I'm about to go get a Whopper, and I believe it's Nightmare. That's what I believe for. But it could also be a Mephisto. Both of them working together. But I definitely believe it could be Nightmare. It's a possibility. Again, we will see you next Friday. 6 more days and some hours to find out who is.
Yeah, like there's so much to unpack. We have so much to talk about. But in chat, like I Guardians, I don't know who's running the account right now, if it's Edlin or Robbie, but they dropped in Agatha was the nanny to Franklin Richards in the comics, so we could potentially see some type of tie-in. I think that would be absolutely amazing to see. I also think that it was Agatha stopping Vision, because obviously Agatha knows that if Vision gets home, I think, like, Vision would have the power to stop Wanda, you know what I mean? And that can't happen. Nova also brought up the red energy around the book that we saw in the basement. Now, I do agree with you. Like, I do think it was also being covered with Wanda's energy, because of whatever deal with whatever devil she made, it is now tied to that book, which I also think is tied to Vision in some way. Because again, there has to be a reason why he's being torn apart whenever he tries to leave the hex.
And plus, to add to that, I love it of how the kids ask, "Hey, where's Dad? Is he coming back home?" And the one that said, "Oh, he is made of vibranium. You're good guys, and you guys are just like him. You guys have tough skin." I was like, "How does that make sense? Tough skin, vibranium. The kids are not even really his."
I'm thinking it was just a joke.
Yeah, me too. I'm not trying to question. Like, okay, Wanda, sure, that makes total sense.
Okay, so I know we started off kind of like at the end of the episode, because I there was so much that I wanted to talk about there.
I totally understand.
Well, let's jump back to. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you see the mid-credit scene?
Oh, of course I did.
Monica and Pietro, no lie, that type of jump scare did actually work on me. Like, because me, I'm kind of a bit scared of stuff, but I didn't expect that, and to happen with a mid-credit scene in the 2000 type of era, it makes total sense. So with Modern Family type of theme and everything, so to see Monica going there, also, but then to see Pietro. That Pietro is not a good guy from what we know. So that means, is he stopping Monica, or is he influenced Monica to go down there? That's the question.
I don't know, because when you look at that mid-credit scene, Monica's eyes turn purple. So that means that,
Oh, didn't I notice that part?
yeah, that means Agatha has control of her. We don't know how long that's gonna last. We don't know if it's temporary, but she does have control of her to some degree. So
Okay.
someone else brought up that the fly could potentially be linked to Beelzebub. It's like, dude, there's so many demons that it could be. There's so
Yeah,
many demons. It's crazy.
and plus the rabbit. She kept petting that rabbit in the basement. That also something's questioning. Like, I feel like the rabbit is important because remember, rabbits are a big thing with magic. If you have seen magic, rabbits are a huge thing for that. So I wonder if that rabbit that she's holding there and just petting, if that's important. And for the bug thing, I knew the bug thing was important too, because I'm like, how can the camera just zoom into the bug? Like, there's no way that's just a random shot. Like, there has to be something important. So the bug and the rabbit important for some reason.
Yeah, I love the ambiguity, bro. Like, as a comic book fan, like, I have a lot of knowledge, but of course, this is an adaptation, right? So they can go a bunch of different ways with it. So all I can do, it's almost like my comic book knowledge almost like hinders my ability to figure out certain things sometimes, even though it helps me figure out a bunch of
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
like figuring out that Agnes was Agatha Harkness from the very first episode. But it's like there's so many different possibilities, right? But let's jump back to the very beginning of the episode and work our way back, right?
Awesome. Let's go.
So I love the Modern Family vibes. Elizabeth Olsen does an incredible job acting in all of these different moments.
She
She
does good.
perfectly captures all of these different sitcoms. And I love that the intro for this episode of WandaVision was this different version of the Office theme, which is awesome.
Nice.
I thought
Yeah.
it was amazing, bro. I love The Office, and the fact that Randall Park is playing Jimmy Woo, who played Asian Jim on The Office. Dude, I swear it'll never happen, right? But I will shit myself if Jimmy Woo gets into the hex, and when he goes through the hex, it turns out to be John Krasinski, and John Krasinski is now White Jim. For the Office fans, you know what I'm talking about. I would lose my mind if that happened. I hope it doesn't, because I think there'll be way too deep cuts for some people. But man, I would laugh my ass off.
And plus, to add about the intro as well, I did not know it was an Office restaurant until I saw a YouTube review. I was like, oh, okay, then I know it's a buzz because I never got into the Office or Modern Family. So I'm like, I assume it was like a Modern Family type of intro, but when I find out, it makes total sense. But if you guys have not checked details on what happens in the intro, there are scenes that say, we know what you're doing, everything is an illusion. Those things are also key to the cinematography. I just want to give again props to that, of how detailed they go with those intros, where they say, we know what you're doing, with some type of stickers type of thing, like, for the fridge and everything. Looks amazing.
Yeah, like there's so many references. Like all the dialogue means something. Everything in the background means something. When Wanda wakes up in bed and she wakes up and she's still in the Scarlet Witch costume from the day before, if you look at the pillow that would be Vision's pillow,
It's the
it's
high eyes.
outlined in like the hex format, which is a reference to the hex itself. So it's like there's so many deep cuts in like the patterns of like curtains, the furniture, like it's
Oh yeah.
crazy, man.
And then plus to add about the pillow, those little hex things are aiming at her head, and it shows that, like, we are watching you. Like, it's showing that we are seeing what you're doing.
Yeah, lights like Don Cheadle goes into the hex and turns into Terrence Howard. That would be funny as shit. Dude, Nova, I also was hoping that when Kat Dennings goes into the hex that she would be some like
So
waitress from that time. I would have lost my mind, man.
I was
That
gonna
would have
add
been
into
awesome.
that clown type of circus thing. Very lackluster. I was expecting more.
That's still fair.
It was I like cool. It was just something for them to say, oh, there's a escape artist, but then she did escape. Okay, cool. But then it was a circus type of thing. So, like, what was it really for? The whole escape type of route. like the whole circus, the clowns. It was just there for probably good for 5 minutes scene, and that's it. So it felt like very useless. It's like, oh, I just expected more out of that scene.
Yeah, I also expected more from that, but I mean, it's all meant to be
Just
a
comedy.
distraction, right?
Yeah.
I think it's all Agatha just trying to keep Vision away from his wife, because everything going on with Wanda right now is very much like how possession works in that mythology, right? You start off by breaking the human down mentally, emotionally, and physically, right? And then after the end, this episode literally ends with the possession. So that was something that I bless you.
Thank
That
you.
was something that I really, really enjoyed, that you got to see those stages of Wanda pretty much breaking down, right? Like we've seen over all of these episodes of her powers glitching in and out. And let's talk about that, right? So she gets out of bed, she tries to ignore the kids, she goes into the kitchen, and the milk, the cereal, and a bunch of other things in the house is constantly switching between time periods. Billy and Tommy are playing a game. It switches to GameCube. It switches to
To
Atari.
Astro.
It switches to
Yeah, to
Uno.
Astro.
It switches to the Nintendo Wii. So it's constantly switching between all of these different time periods, and it feels like the steps of possession to me, just breaking her down mentally and emotionally and all of these different things. So man, and Pedro brings up watching Billy and Tommy getting stronger throughout the episode and Agatha realizing it. Billy talking about his headache, much like Professor X when he was young, talking about his headaches because his powers is expanding. He's connecting to the minds of everyone in the
In the
Hex,
town.
and he
Yep.
doesn't understand it. He doesn't even understand that the reason why he can't read Agatha's thoughts is simply because she's a powerful witch and she's blocking them.
But I love of how they noticed that, or
Mm-hmm.
technically of how he noticed that, because he's like, I can't read your mind. It's nothing. And they noticed that. And when Wanda went into the house and she saw the sandwiches being half eaten, and then she said, wait, where are the kids? Is when she questioned that. And then that's when she said, oh, they're down in the basement. And then it's because she was leading her into the basement. She wanted her to go down there for a reason and to see what's going on so she could, put the spell on her. But like, she planned it so well. So technically, like you said in the beginning of the review, Wanda was never the one in charge of this whole live television type of aspect. It was all Agnes, the one leading her into it, just like she did. We also saw her back in episode 1 with the magic trick. She was also the one doing the with the
Mm-hmm.
magic trick as well. Like, she was in every single episode doing something with it.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see, like, I hope, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get this in the season finale, but I need to see the deal that Wanda
Oh
makes
yeah.
to make all of this happen. Whether she made it directly with Agatha or with Agatha to be with Mephisto or Nightmare, whatever it is, because she doesn't remember. So it's obvious that Agatha erased her memory. So it's crazy, man. Yeah, the Yo Gabba
I
Gabba
did not expect that. I
Easter
did
egg, I
not
was like,
expect that.
this is weird. You showing us all of these weird creatures, because I overanalyze everything, right? So it's like, are you telling me that there's 4 demons? Because that could be the case.
So that's what I was gonna bring up, and perfectly said, because when they said there's Yo Gabba Gabba, there's 4 people, and that means there's 4 monsters, meaning possible 4 demons, 4 devils. So it's possible with it, and maybe also acknowledging Phase 4. That goes to be a reference to Phase 4 as well. I don't know, but it shows of the what details and reference they bring up to the show, because Yo Gabba Gabba was part of that time, because
Mm-hmm.
my niece was watching Yo Gabba Gabba and it was annoying watching that. But just to see that reference, I was like, oh, I remember that. Wait, what? Why are you showing that? Because we also had the trailer. I'm sorry, not trailer. We also had a commercial about Nexus as well. What did you think about that, James?
Okay, so I don't want to get there just yet.
Okay,
Let's
sorry.
hold off, because there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to say about that
All right.
Nexus commercial. But I want to bring up what Pedro said. So in that interview, right, where Wanda's talking to the camera and the interviewer responds to her
Yes,
and literally says, "Do you think maybe this is what you deserve?"
and she
It's like,
said, "You're
well,
not
what the
supposed to
fuck
answer."
does that mean? You know what I mean? I mean, they're not, right? Like
Yeah.
the people filming shouldn't be talking to you. That's not
Yep.
how the sitcom works. So it's like, what does that mean? Like, maybe you do deserve it, but why do they think that Wanda deserves it? Why does Agatha think that Wanda deserves whatever is happening? Because Agatha is in control. It's been her all along. So it's like, what does that mean?
But I think she's lying. She is she is breaking her mindset. She is breaking her. She's trying to put her in a place that it make her believe that's hurtful, but it's really not. But trying to make her believe where so she could lose control. Much easier to control Wanda when she has her type of firewall down. Much easier to control Wanda and much easier to get access and use her powers. Maybe Agnes needs Wanda to use her powers to open a book, open a portal or something.
So, Chris, I didn't notice that. It sounded like a dude to me. It didn't sound like her voice pitched down, but that's interesting though. But Catherine Hahn, like, she was amazing throughout this entire episode. Like watching that montage at the end, watching her switch between emotions. She's such a great actress, and I'm glad they picked her to be Agatha Harkness on this show. But yeah, I didn't notice if it was her voice pitched down. I'm sure you guys are right. I saw the episode twice, and I just assumed that it was a guy for some reason. Like she changed her voice to be like a male voice for some reason, but it could definitely be her voice pitched down. But what else did I want to talk about here before we get into the
Oh,
Nexus commercial?
how did you feel about the Darcy with Vision car ride? Like him finding out about his truth, like about his past, and why Wanda hided that is because it's because he died twice. How do you feel that conversation? And Darcy saying like, "Yeah, you died twice. You was made of Ultron. There was a guy named Jarvis before you. With all that. How do you feel about it? Because I'm happy they finally found out about his past. It's technically like a person that lost his, technically his mindset or technically amnesia."
Yeah, I really like that actually. I feel like Vision handled it the way a being like Vision would handle it, right? Like it's all processing, right? Like I used to be an AI and then I was actually turned into a huge weapon for the end of the world, right? And then he's like, "Well, what am I now?" And Darcy doesn't have an answer for him, but this is a great way for Vision to discover himself. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that they brought it up in chat. Nova brought it up and someone else brought it up. But the roadblocks and everything is very, very Truman Show. So Truman Show, and I love that aspect of it. But I don't know, man. Like I'm very curious to see the being that Vision becomes now. You know what I mean? Like I think he's always going to be the same type of person at the core where he's this kind-hearted person that wants to save people because that's what he's trying to do, right? Even against the love of his life. He wants to go up against her to save these thousands of people stuck in Westview. You know what I mean? So I think he's always going to be Vision, but I can't wait to see the hero that he becomes with this new perspective and lease on life.
And plus, I'm happy that he finally figured out, like, you know what? I could just leave and just transport through the door and just leave.
Yeah. It's like, why am I waiting here?
Yeah, it's like, because it was funny how for the second or third time he was talking to the camera and then he was questioning, like, wait, why am I talking to you guys? I could just get up and leave. I'm like, yeah. And you just left Darcy too, because Darcy was like, oh, okay. I guess I could just stay here. I'm like, yeah, you could.
And Pedro, you are absolutely right. Darcy is the audience character explaining the MCU to people that need refreshers on the MCU and just don't know what's going on. So it's like, I'm definitely on board with that. And I love that. Edlin, definitely, like Agatha is keeping Wanda in her feelings. Again, I think it's all a part of the stages of possession, like I was talking about before. And then right at the end of the episode, she is weak enough to actually be possessed by Agatha. It's crazy.
Our girl Darcy is the version of Michael Pena Lewis. Telling the story of the characters.
That would be dope.
So, because that's what I'm finding out, because it just put two and two together. Like, Darcy's technically, she said herself, like, I was watching the TV show of WandaVision, but I came and joined and everything, and, like, she was speaking as a perspective of us as the audience, and she was speaking it as telling her, Vision the story of Ultron, the Avengers, Thanos, and everything. And Michael Pena in Ant-Man does the same thing with the whole flashback story, except without a flashback, Darcy does the same thing.
Yeah, and I want to keep going into what Edlin is saying right now because this is really, really great shit. But it's like keeping Vision away from Wanda and keeping Monica from bringing Wanda back is all a part of keeping her in this dark place. Keeping her in this dark place to force her to expand the hex even more. Forcing her to stay here to keep their kids and watching their powers grow even more. And to Chris's point, how does Darcy know all this information? I don't know. I don't know if it matters. Obviously, she's been paying attention to the events that have been happening. Like, obviously, like, Infinity War and the events of Endgame would be huge news. So I'm guessing like, and also like because she's like hacked into Sword, maybe she's like done research on all of these like classified things that no other people know.
And
I don't
probably,
know, man.
when that happened was 2018, so it's been 5 years for them because they're in the year 2023. So probably it's public news already, where it didn't have to be classified information no more. So they should let the public know, like, hey. But I think like it's weird that she knows what happened about Vision. Like, hey, he died twice. Like maybe about Thanos, they know, and
Yeah,
about
who's telling her this information?
yeah, like how do you know? Okay, you know about Ultron that made Vision. Okay, that's understandable. Like that's something that probably the world knows. But how do you know that Vision died twice? How do you know that Wanda's the one that killed Vision first, and then Thanos rewind time? Like, how's it that you know the exact information? Like, are you playing the audience like us as the audience? That's how you know the information. Are you playing meta as like 4-4 breaking like Deadpool type of style? That's what I'm curious to know. Like, I'm no problem. I'm enjoying this, but like, how do you know this info? Or maybe she's being technically like another demon being controlled. I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting too much information, but who knows?
I mean, that's the great thing about WandaVision though, and this story. Like, there's so many things that can go so many different ways. Like someone brought up in chat, Agatha killing the dog to force the kids to try to force them to grow up even more. It's like they would be a better sacrifice with greater powers. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different things. But let's get into this Nexus commercial. These commercials are phenomenal, bro. Like these commercials showing us the different perspectives from like Wanda's past trauma, her current trauma, the things that she could do to try to escape her trauma, the reason why she's still stuck in her trauma, still stuck in this world. And I love this the Nexus, right? Because a Nexus is essentially a portal, right, to another world, an alternate reality. And I love this. You know what I mean? Like I legit like wrote down the entire commercial. Are you feeling depressed? Like the world is going on without you? Do you want to just be left alone? Ask your doctor about Nexus. Like I love this commercial, bro. Like it's dope. Chat, I want to know your thoughts on the Nexus commercial. Like what do you think it means? Because I feel like it could mean like a bunch of different things. Vash, what about you?
I love I love the commercial. It felt like it just I love how the transition be sometimes though, because you're just watching the show, then boom, commercial. Like, is this an ad or is this an actual commercial? Like, what's going on here? But then it shows that it pops up because, like James just said, the details they put into the word of line, the script itself, saying that, do you have a headache? Is everything okay? You should go to a doctor and everything, like James just said. And it's important because and then leads up to the end of the episode of how your mind is being controlled. The town people, Wanda's being controlled now by Agnes. So was Wanda a victim the whole time? To like Monica said, and like Monica said in episode 3, telling director Hayward, like, hey, maybe she's a victim herself. Maybe someone's behind the scenes that's doing the actual pulling the strings. So all that is key.
Yeah, bro. Like, I love this. Side effects include feeling your feelings, confronting your truth, seizing your destiny, and possibly more depression. You should not take Nexus unless your doctor has cleared you to move on with your life. Nexus, because the world doesn't revolve around you. Or does it? Like, I love this, bro.
And plus, to add to that,
are such deep cuts.
That the episode title is called Breaking the 4-4 as well. And that is important.
And Agatha does that throughout the entire episode. Like, instantly, the moment she comes on screen with the kids,
she stares at the camera now.
She looks directly at the camera. And it's like, that's not a surprise for us. Because, again, we always knew that she had a greater influence over this. We just didn't know to what extent, right? So,
and
go ahead.
I was going to add is that when she came over, Wanda opened the door. It just came new because we have said it throughout the past episodes that she always comes right on time. It's either Wanda doing it or Agnes doing it because they come at the right time. But then she said, oh, I could take the kids. Don't worry, your mom needs a break and everything. So she takes the kids because she's planning this. But at the same time, she tells the kids, oh, the kids, don't worry, I don't bite. But then when she talks to the camera later, she said, I've only bitten a kid once. At first,
and then looks directly at the camera. I'm like,
it stares directly at the camera. At first, I thought it was a joke. But then when later, like at the end of the episode we find out the truth of who she is, the witch and everything, then it makes me question, whose kid did you actually bite? Because there's no way you just said that as a joke in the beginning of the episode. Now that we know who you are, who did you bite as a kid?
And that's what makes Catherine Hahn such a great actress
Yes.
in this show, right? Because you don't know if she's joking or not. Like, she has the same face whether she murdered
like-
someone or didn't.
Yes, I just bought a
She's
kid.
just
I'm
chilling
like,
and then looks at the camera. But Nova, yeah, being a Nexus means she's the one constant. Anchor you back to your reality or the reality of your choice. Like, this Nexus commercial and all of the commercials are just so telling of what's going on around Wanda, and I love it. Like, I hate seeing comments online where it's like people don't like the show because it's constantly centered around like the sitcoms and like they don't get the commercials. I'm like, look deeper, man. Look deeper. There's so many hidden elements about depression and all of these different things on WandaVision, and like just look deeper and you'll get it. You know what I mean?
and Bounce just said it's because she's a witch, and the folklore of witches
That
they
makes
eat
sense.
kids. Yeah, that makes
That makes
total sense. Now that you put it in that retrospect, makes sense because, like Jim said earlier, the witch is of the West, so it makes total sense. Like, she eats kids. Yeah, makes total sense now.
Yeah, and we have no idea how old Agatha is, right? Like, we have no idea how old she's going to be in the MCU. So it could have, who knows how many kids she's devoured.
That is very true. It just makes more questions to the show, and again, I just want to give props to the writing, because to know the structure, the writing, and the producer, they have done a fantastic job to know how to lead way for each episode, how to connect the strings, how to connect those type of references is amazing. So I gotta give props again to the writing, because it makes sure the comic book lore, the characters, that is very important.
Yeah. Next thing that I wanted to talk about was all of the Monica stuff, right? Because we all knew that at some point we were going to get Photon, right? We all knew that Monica was going to get her powers. In the last episode, it was teased even more because Darcy was telling her, you've already been through the Hex twice. It has completely overwritten your body on a molecular level. And we all knew that Monica was going to go back through the Hex and she would eventually get her powers. But before we get there,
Yes, thank you. About
one thing that I wanted to talk about, and our theory was completely debunked.
Totally debunked.
The aerospace engineer, it's not Reed, it's not Blue Marvel, it's just some random person in the military, Major what was it, Goodner?
Yes.
Major Goodner. It's just some random person. She's not a comic book character. She's completely made up for WandaVision. I'm like,
I was disappointed.
you are teasing me, bro. I'm also disappointed. Go ahead.
Like, these are like the two things that disappointed about the episode, which is, guys, not back then, not just because it just had expectations, and just because I disappointed don't mean I'm gonna put a lower rating, because I hate when people do that, like, just because people expected something and then put lower rating. But one, it was a circus. Two, it was me, James, and Ray, and our other guest that has come on. We say, oh, it's probably Blue Marvel, probably some type of genius that we'll probably get reference to, or maybe, who knows, maybe is Abateus Cho, I think that's how you say his name. Maybe like any other smart character type of hero that we might see in the future for Young Avengers or other cosmic type of hero. Cool. No, it's just some random person like, hey, did we get your car? Did we get your vehicle to how you want it? Like, yeah, okay, you cool. You're part of the army. I guess you're smart and you got some type of specs, cool. But I knew that car was not gonna go through, because when she said, oh, smooth sailing, I'm like, when you say smooth sailing, you know goddamn what things are not gonna go through smooth. That's called prediction. That's called foreshadowing. When you say something, oh, when people say, oh, we hope it'll go through, then okay, wait, it will, it might. But when you say smooth sailing, like, yeah, that car's not gonna go through our.
Yeah, I also didn't expect it to go through, and I loved that entire sequence of her pushing through the Hex, her being split into the 4 different versions of herself.
That was beautiful.
Her listening to dialogue from the first Captain Marvel
Fury
movie
2.
from when she was young. I agree with you, Nova. I definitely think that Monica Rambeau is going to be a hybrid of Photon and Spectrum, because from what we saw in the episode, we saw her use her electromagnetic abilities, being able to see the electromagnetic fields where she could see the Hex powers in the air, right? So that's a Spectrum power, but I think like the costume and some of the other things that they're going to lean into will be more Photon based, and I can't wait to see in Captain Marvel 2 Photon, Spectrum, whatever they're going to call her on the show, because she's had so many different names. But I can't wait to see her square up against Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel 2 because that's definitely going to happen.
Once I saw her having that type of outfit of an astronaut, I knew like she's gonna get her powers right at the moment because her astronaut type of suit was literally white and black. And I'm like, we're about to get her powers right now, like in a good 2 minutes, because I knew that car was not gonna go through. That car, that Hex ate the car. That Hex literally said, "I'm gonna just eat you a boom," just spit the car out. Like, oh, okay, guess it didn't want to eat the car. And then I knew once she got out, she about to run through that gate. She about to run to the Hex. And then Jim was like, "No, don't." I'm like, "Why are you screaming? You ain't gonna do nothing." But it was just funny just to watch her run through. And again, to what James said, seeing the whole type of different spectrum, and then her running there, and then that girl ran a marathon. Again, people did not notice this because it was just cut and just a nice edit. But she ran from the beginning of town to the center of town because Wanda lives in the center of town. She ran a marathon, and then she got to Wanda, and she literally got thrown by Wanda and then landed. And if anybody did not see her powers, but it had that bluish white spectrum, was
so
beautiful.
Cool.
So, and her eyes are like that bluish whitish, and it's amazing, like sky blue. So nice to see her powers and everything. And I'm happy that she didn't really question it fully. She's like, okay, I see that I got something, but she didn't really question like, oh,
she's smart because Darcy already told her if you go through again, you're gonna be changed even more. She's also smart enough to know that Carol Danvers was changed and became Captain Marvel because of the Space Stone. So this is the same thing. Like, you're messing around with the power from the Infinity Stone.
Yep.
She knew the risks, and I can't wait to see her use her abilities. Like, Monica Rambeau is going to be such an amazing character going forward, and I can't wait to see what they do. I think the actress does a really good job. She's this gorgeous black woman with this amazing hair. I love her hair, and I think she's amazing, man.
That's props to her hair. Her hair never looks any like her hair looks perfect all the time. Like I'm like, I don't know who's your hair into makeup, but whoever is doing a beautiful job because that hair is looking flawless in every scene where it doesn't look that. And somehow, right after she got out the whole type of outfit and the whole type of astronaut, it looked almost the same. It's like, technically, usually after when you wear like a whole thing to cover your hair, it usually gets messed up. But somehow they wear, whew, perfect. So I'm like,
that happens in everything.
I'm like, cool, I guess, sure. But to add about that fight scene, Agnes came at the perfect time. She saw what's going on outside the window. She's like, you know what? This girl Monica, I don't like her because she's trying to get Wanda back to normal. I don't like this. I don't like this. So
exactly like what Ellen was saying earlier on. Like, Agnes is trying to keep the people away from Wanda that can pull her from the edge.
And then that's what she did. Keep her in this spot. She said, you know what? I'm going to go grab her real quick. She said, no, stay away from the town. Like, and then it was grabbing her and everything. And Monica kept pushing everything. And I'm happy she didn't give up and everything. So I'm curious to know how episode is going to be with Vision and Monica. And if anybody else has joined who know Doctor Strange, like, it's still up in the air. So it's very interesting. Because I hopefully with Vision, because Vision said it in an interview a couple weeks ago saying that he's happy he did the show because he worked with somebody that he's been wanting to. Hopefully it was not Darcy. Like, I get Darcy is a cool character and everything, but hopefully it's somebody much bigger.
I still think it's Benedict Cumberbatch, man. I think Doctor Strange is going to show up at the very end of it, and I think that's going to be the huge cameo. One of the last things that I wanted to talk about real quick, where was it? I lost my notes. When Monica and Jimmy Woo find out about what was it? Codename Cataract, where they find out that Sword was actually trying to literally rebuild Vision and make him a sword weapon, which is exactly what he didn't want in his will. So that would have been crazy if they actually succeeded. So I'm glad that they didn't, because I still think that Hayward's a Skrull. Can you imagine if the Skrulls had Vision as a weapon, bro? That would be insane.
But then
I was just going to say real quick, like Codename Cataract, it could be like a nothing Easter egg, but it's actually like a Marvel versus Capcom like level in one of the games. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, where have I heard Cataract before? It's from Marvel versus Capcom.
It makes sense because I heard of that saying as well, but I played the games, but I never took the lore. I took the lore of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, but never took the lore of Marvel vs. Capcom because I don't really care much for the lore. I just like the games. So, but And now it makes sense why, because I heard, I'm like, why does it sound like a car, like a song? Like, I feel like I heard from somewhere, but it makes total sense. But to add to what the chat was saying is that I'm very happy with how Monica and Wanda is with the fight and how it went through. But it also shows that the whole people, like the 5-6 people that was watching what's going on around with the mailman and the people that was walking around, they stop and watch. But I wonder if they stop and watch because it was part of the scene, like to not mess up the scene of Wanda, or is it because they was hoping that Monica gets her back into reality so they could escape this reality? So I'm curious to know what
Or
was it
both.
that's or both too.
You know, because we know that they have their own thoughts, even though Wanda kind of suppresses some of their thoughts.
Yeah.
But we know that they are thinking in the sunken place. We know that
Yes.
they're thinking at the exact same time that they're being controlled. So I think it could be both.
Oh, for sure.
And Nova brings up that cataracts impairs your vision, which is also something really, really cool.
Wow. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I love how Monica tried her best to try to tell Wanda, like, hey, where this was actually trying to, make Vision as a sentient type of weapon. And it kind of contradicts what Hayward is saying. I still am 50-50 with James there about the scroll. It could be half and half. It could go left or right. Like, again, he's a crossroads. So, but it's possible with the scroll and everything. But it shows why Hayward really wanted Vision to come out. He was excited because he wanted his weapon to come back to him last week.
Yeah, shout out to chat for bringing up all the knowledge. Nova, thank you for being here. Chris, all you guys.
Yes,
I really
likewise.
appreciate it. You guys are bringing the knowledge here. But Vash, do you have any final thoughts on this episode before we wrap for the night?
Of how Wanda was eating a cereal called sugar snaps. That's also really interesting as well.
Yes.
That she ate called sugar snaps, and that's because that was a reference to the Thanos snap, and also that the I guess what do you call it, the mascot was a clown. So I guess that was also a reference to the clown, or maybe that's a reference to aka our purple friend Thanos. Could be either or.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think Doctor Strange is gonna pull up like Nick Fury. just pop up.
I wonder if Nick Fury's gonna pop up because we heard Nick Fury in the voiceover when
He's in space, remember?
Yeah, but who knows? He probably will drop down and be like, hey, what the hell's going down on my planet right now with this whole purple, not purple, with this whole red hex thing.
WandaVision takes place before Far From Home, and we know that he's been in space from Far From Home and way before then, too.
But maybe his Nick Fury double will be calling him like, hey, there's
Talos?
something. Yeah, Talos. So like, hey, there's like a red hex going on in New Jersey, and it's expanding, and it's being caused by Wanda. So what do you want me to do? Like, I just hope we get seen about that with Talos or something. Like, more work to do here in Earth.
So Nova, right? Like, I hope that the aerospace engineer is someone else. Like, and I could be interpreting it wrong, right? Because from the past episodes, Monica brings up the fact that she has to speak to her engineer friend to get a vehicle of some kind. I could be wrong, but to get something to get them back into the hex. So when we saw Major Goodner, I just automatically assumed that was the aerospace engineer. But to think that it could be like Talos's daughter, or it could still be Blue Marvel, it could still be someone else, that would be interesting. So
to add to what the chat was saying, what Pedro brought up, and that was my last thing I was gonna bring up, that when the milk was changing as well, back then a lot of milk cartons used to put missing kids, or any type of missing information. So in this carton, when it switched back to the second or third time, it put a missing kids. And again, it goes back to the reference that James brought up for the Spider-Man film 3. We know in the trailer and plus in the leaks that there's missing children.
Missing kids.
So there's probably going to be a reference to that as well. The kids will be missing. Kids around Earth will be missing. Who the hell knows where it's going to lead into? So it just depends. But I like how the reference shows that there's a missing kid. Who was the missing kid? If anybody zoom in so much, who knows if you can actually see in detail. But from what I saw on my screen, I couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah, I love Chris's comment. Agatha Harkness, I've come to bargain.
That would be funny if they actually use that reference there. Like, I'm gonna bargain. I want Wanda back.
But man, I don't know where any of this is gonna go, and I love that because
Same.
I'm usually the type of person that I see something, I sit here, I analyze it, and I've already figured it out, right? Like we talked about previously, when during the Flash with the whole Savitar thing, his second appearance, I already know who it was, exactly who it was. You know what I mean? That's how my brain works. I sit and I analyze absolutely everything.
Because
And
better
with
writing.
right? And with WandaVision, like I get some things, but the fact that I don't know most things, I love it. I love that I'm confused. I love that I don't know what's actually happening. It's exhilarating.
And
Like
that's the beautiful aspect. Like we always talk about when we do our manga reviews of Black Clover and My Hero, when we don't know what's gonna happen in the next chapter, in the next arc or something, because the good writing, it shows that it could go in any different type of avenues, the left field, Burger King, Wendy's, some type of chili, Applebee's. We don't know where it's gonna go on which place. I don't know, I'm using so much reference in this episode with so much food, but I don't know, probably I'm hungry, who the hell knows. But it shows of how well this writing is for this series, and it shows that we're passionate fans, me and James are, but we know how to critique, know how to analyze, but at the same time, like the chats here, they also help us in case we miss anything, and also to bring the discussion to us and add more to the whole discussion as a whole. But at the same time, I'm glad I don't know what's gonna happen next week for episode 8 or 9, and I hope. Last week we spoke, or last Monday or last Friday, we spoke that we're getting an hour episode. We did not get an hour episode for episode 7. And I hope we do get one for episode 8 and 9. I want an hour episode. We need one. And if we don't, hey, still fine too. But I kind of prefer to get an hour long episode. I would like it because I want more questions, more answers. And maybe, but at the same time, this might be the last 4-4 breaking type of sitcom episode since Wanda kind of got captured. So this might be the last one. And episode 8 and 9 might be normal episodes. That's just my guess. James?
yeah, because we're moving officially into the 2010s in episode 8. So it's like
Yeah.
I wonder what sitcom that they'll reference. Like there's New Girl that was really popular. Who knows like which way it can go. Like I'm curious to see what sitcom they'll do next. But yeah, I also think that they're kind of done with like the talking
Yeah.
to the camera type of sitcom thing. But who knows, man? Like this show is absolutely phenomenal, and I love what Kevin Feige and the writers are doing. At the moment I saw the bird in Wanda's house, I knew that we lost Wiccan and Speed. Yeah, that was kind of something I saw too, because when the bird showed up
Oh.
the first time, I mean, it's the stork that brings the kids. So when we saw the stork again, it's like, well, they're
Is
taking the kids. So
oh
I thought
shit.
that as well.
I did not notice that. I did not notice
Yeah,
that.
bro.
I noticed it when there was a sandwich there and there was no kids at the house, or no kids. Hey mom, nice to see you doing well. That's when I noticed it, but I didn't notice it because the stoic. Nice guys.
Community too. Community is huge. Community is one of my favorite comedies, bro.
And plus, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was also a big one in the 2010s era, so I'm curious to know. But like I said, who knows if they might continue type of more sitcoms, or they might be the last one in this episode, because when I get captured, the people might break spell. Vision is gonna enter the ring. Like it's kind of like Smash Bros. Who's gonna enter the ring next? Like who's coming next? Like who's gonna be the next villain? Who's gonna be the next character that's gonna show up?
Yeah. Right before we started recording, like Chris, Vash, and we were talking about the fact that yes, we're obviously not getting three 1 hour episodes. This one was 30 minutes. So what we were talking about were, do we think that episode 8 will be 30 minutes and then episode 9 could be an hour and a half, or
Oh,
the
like a
last
movie,
two
yeah.
episodes could be an hour? Who knows? Nova also brings up Parks and Rec. That would be dope too. Um, didn't Vision ask where are all the kids in town in like episode 3?
Oh, you
Yes,
did.
he did. And then we found out in the last episode that one has actually just been keeping the kids asleep, completely docile in their beds,
Yeah.
which is psychotic when you think about it.
Yeah, she did mention to her brother Petrus that when they're not being used in the script or in the scene, they're in a sleep mode in a way. Like, it's like where your phone is, like in a sleep mode when it's not being used. So that's what happens. That those kids, those parents, where they're being in dials. Just like when Vision went to the outskirts of town, those people were just doing slow movements, not really much of the part of the scene, because they were still part of the story, Halloween theme, but not really much interaction.
Yeah. Man, this episode was so much fun. Like I said, there was so much to unpack. I love the reveal of Agatha at the end. I love the song. Catherine Hahn, again, amazing performance. Just watching her like go through the different moments over the past 7 episodes, and just showing how it's been her controlling everything all along. Monica getting her powers, becoming again Photon, Spectrum, whatever they're gonna call her. I hope they call her Photon, and then she'll have the Spectrum powers. I can't wait to see what else Darcy is going to do. what Vision is going to do, right? Because Vision is just this bystander in the show right now. So I can't wait to see him have like a much bigger impact either against Wanda or against Agatha, however it's going to go. There's so much to unpack. I want to know what's going on with Sword. I want to know what their plan is. They talked about burning Westview to the ground in an attempt to stop Wanda and save
Yeah,
everyone
that's
else. So it's like, what's Sword's plan? Like, what's up with Hayward? So I'm just super excited for episode 8. Super excited for the finale in episode 9. I just can't wait, man. Vash, do you have any other final thoughts?
my final thoughts on WandaVision. No, but for those that are curious to know our thoughts for Superman Lois, will be 2 reviews that we'll be doing next week for 2 TV shows. Will be WandaVision and Superman Lois. So we will do WandaVision last because that's the most probably big type of discussion we'll have. Superman Lois will be the first one about TV review because it comes out for Tuesday and it will be a 2 episode for those that are curious to know. It will be a 2-hour special for anybody who wants to kick back and watch it. Me and James will probably watch it on Discord that night, if anything, or maybe on that Wednesday as well. So definitely check out the tweets, check out the Twitter for any type of feedback or comments if you guys want to watch it with us.
Yeah, Nova brings up, like, if you notice during the Halloween episode, like, you saw a lot more parents and a lot more adults than kids. So it's like, who's taking the kids? Is it Agatha? Is it one of the demons taking the kids? Like, who knows? And yes, I also agree that Agatha Harkness should definitely get an Emmy for the show. Like, she's amazing.
Yes, this whole show should deserve a whole Emmy for writing, for cinematography, for Wanda herself. Elizabeth Olsen has been amazing in this role, and Agatha Harkness should definitely get an Emmy. They've been playing such an amazing job in this role, in this whole series.
Yeah, and Edlin, to your point, like, I hope that they had nice dreams. I don't think they did, because much like the adults, they all feel what Wanda feels. And yes, we could say that Wanda has more empathy to the kids, and she used more of her powers to, like, give them nice dreams, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Maybe they saw the death scene of Vision happening on a whole rewind.
I don't know, man. Like, I think it would be a mixture of happy thoughts and then Wanda's, like, extreme depression.
Well, maybe
and all
it could
of the
be
stuff that she's
happy
been
thoughts because remember, if it's Nightmare, Nightmare usually gives people what they want. Like maybe if
That's
people,
true.
maybe if it's people in the town that want to become like a millionaire, some people are like millionaires, have stocks, have a whole type of franchise or whatever they want. So if it's Nightmare, they give them happy thoughts. So if it's Nightmare type of influence, maybe it's him.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it can go a lot of different ways, and I just can't wait for these final 2 episodes. I'm gonna be sad, but I'm very excited to get these final 2 episodes.
But hey,
guys,
well, once they're done, you get Falcon and the Winter Soldier the next following week. So don't worry, you're good.
that's pure facts. Like, I'm getting Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Flash. We're gonna get Invincible soon after that. Like, we're gonna have so much content for you guys. It's going to be insane. But this was an amazing episode. As always, chat, thank you so much for being involved. Thank you so much for all of your theories and everything jumping into the conversation. Vash, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Legendy Vash everywhere else on Twitter and IG. Thank you guys for checking out Villains all the time. As I appreciate it. If you guys have any question, any comments, any things that you guys want us to cover in the future, definitely put the hashtag C4S Villains is where we'll best find it, or just comment down the tweets when James has the tweet for Careful Spoilers on the next stream of the video. So definitely that's the best way to answer any viewer question, because if you guys have that like ahead of time, maybe that could be a main topic or maybe a comic book recommendation. Those things are very useful for us in the future, and thank you very much on how much support you guys been giving us, because we're only 6 episodes in of the shows, and it's very glad, and we cannot wait to make more in the future.
Yeah, like you said, Vash, like, please give us any recommendations you guys have. If you want us to review a comic series or like a quick run, DM us, let us know. We will definitely do it on the show. Any ideas you guys have for main topics, like, this is as much as a show for you guys as it is for us. Like, we're here, we decided again to do the show live so that we can talk to you guys about all of these things. So please let us know what you guys want to talk about, and we will do it on the show. Like I said about recommending comics, we're gonna do that once a month for now. And if you guys want more, we will definitely do more. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on our socials. All of that stuff will be in the description below. And yeah, guys, thank you so much again for watching this episode. And we will see you guys on the next one.